everyone who sells drugs, gets caught selling drugs, to receive the death penalty for their heinous acts.
Hey, what's going on, folks? I'm back, and we're going to talk about Trump 2024. He officially ran for president while I was gone, and one of the more viral parts of his speech is him saying death penalty for drug dealers.
Responsible for death, carnage, and crime all over our country. Every drug dealer, during his or her life on average, will kill 500 people with the drugs they sell, not to mention the destruction of families. But we're going to be asking everyone who sells drugs, gets caught selling drugs, to receive the death penalty for their heinous acts, because it's the only way. We don't need any more blue ribbon committees. I don't like to say this, and I don't even know if the American public is ready for it. And a lot of my people say, please don't say that, sir. That's not nice. They kill 500 people each on average. And if you don't do this, in China, when I was with President Xi, I said, President, do you have a drug problem? No, we don't. He looked at me like I didn't know what I was doing.
Interesting idea. We'll talk about it in this live stream and everything else Trump 2024, DeSantis, and how people are handling it. Next, I want to talk about Twitter because Elon Musk has taken over, fired a lot of people, changed a lot of policy, says he won't bring back Alex Jones, says freedom of speech, not freedom of reach, which sounds like shadow banning, and did a poll on whether to bring back Donald Trump after he brought back Jordan Peterson, Babylon Bee, and a few others. I'll tell you what I think about Elon Musk as the CEO of Twitter as well in this live stream. Appreciate you being here. God bless you. The live starts now.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a live episode. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I was gone for a week. I went on vacation with my mother and some members of my family. I went on a cruise. As people know, if you watch my show a lot, I love cruises, and I was really upset at the vaccine mandate, the testing, all of the masking that they were doing for a while. I'm happy to announce, unofficially, of course, this is not like sponsored or anything, I just like cruises. No test, no vaccine. It's finally back to normal for the most part, so I was super pumped about that. Pretty much took a break from my phone for the week. I didn't really touch it that much and, check the news. So it was a nice little detox from everything. So I'll get into the two stories of the day, and then I'll tell you a little bit about my vacation, which was nice. And just tapping out of social media is interesting because when you hop right back into it, you just see what everything, and it's like just this cycle constantly. But Trump ran for office. He said he's running in 2024 officially. And then the second story I just want to say for those who want to stay tuned for that part, we're going to talk about Elon Musk taking over Twitter, bringing back Jordan Peterson, Babylon Bee. He says he's not bringing back Alex Jones, which upset a lot of people. Alex Jones responded to that. I'm going to tell you his response. And also he's doing a poll to bring back President Trump on Twitter. So please stay tuned for that story as well. With that being said, the first story that I want to talk about that I missed when I was gone was Trump officially announced for office. Everybody speculated that he was doing so. In the week running prior, he was throwing jabs at DeSantis. I think Glenn Youngkin, what's that lady's name, Winsome Sears. Some people were saying some of them were talking trash about him. Others are speculating. I guess I saw a list that a lot of these big right-wing donors are starting to pour their money into DeSantis. And it seems like, I don't know if he's exactly outraising Donald Trump. That might be an overstatement, but he's coming close if he's not, to fundraising, and I think that Trump sees that as a possible, angle to steal his thunder for the election, so maybe Trump's getting ahead of it. But, before I talk about the entirety of his campaign and him running for office, one of the parts that stuck out to me that was going viral was him talking about drug dealers, and this was controversial because a lot of rap blogs shared it, and they're like, oh my God, that's crazy. Some people agree, some people disagree, but he talked about death penalty for drug dealers, right? In certain countries, I believe like Singapore, Philippines, certain Middle Eastern countries, they have even Russia, you see Brittany Griner still in jail. They have very strict policy on drugs. I personally, I believe in some experimental drugs because I think there's a fine line between Big Pharma versus nature. I'm not going to advocate for drugs right now, like mushrooms, etc., because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to advocate or inspire people to do drugs. But when it comes to America, Big Pharma is the biggest drug dealer in the world. The Sackler family, Operation Warp Speed. I mean, I could name dozens of things. The fentanyl pouring across the border, which fentanyl is a drug that's actually used legally as well, not just illegally. So I don't think Big Pharma really has the moral high ground that they pretend to. So I see both sides of the fence of people who want certain experimental drugs to be legal versus people who want it to be illegal, and people who take a hard stand like Trump saying execution. In the Philippines, I believe, Singapore, like I named, there's not a huge drug problem because there's a heavy penalty for drugs. So I do, in many ways, agree with what Trump's saying, because I think if you really do want to crack out the drug problem in this country, part of that is strict penalties on drug dealers, people coming across the border with fentanyl, people selling cocaine to kids or what, this, I don't care. Personally, I think I don't have a big opposition to that if you're going stricter on bad drug dealers. But the thing is, most of this country, in my perspective, and I would say statistically, is addicted to pharmacy pills and pharmacy drugs. And, I don't want to overstate the stats because I don't have them in front of me, but the amount of Americans on 1 pill, 2 pills, 3 pills, depression pills, psychological pills. This country's pilled out of its head. I believe 75% of ads in 2020 on TV were Big Pharma ads. So I just think the irony of Trump saying that he thinks drug dealers should get a death penalty, because they kill on average of 500 people. I hate to break it to Trump, but Operation Warp Speed killed much more than 500 people. And I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the world. I'm just saying the VAERS reporting, and you don't have, they're going to fact check this. They already demonetized my page for a week and just gave it back. But I'm not saying everybody's dying. I'm not saying everybody gets hurt. That's not a statement I'm trying to make. But, there are people, when you give it to hundreds of millions of people, there are going to be people who have side effects and injuries. So, the number 500 is very low considering Trump's the biggest drug dealer in modern history with Operation Warp Speed and his pharma friends. So, I just, it's like, I hear what he's saying. I think there should be a strict penalty, but if you're going to go that hard on drug dealers selling coke, crack, heroin, etc., I have no problem with it personally, but also go hard on people when they kill millions of people with opioids, because somehow Big Pharma can scam an entire generation, kill thousands upon tens of thousands upon hundreds of thousands upon millions of people, yet somehow when they get caught, they just get a slap on a wrist and a fine that isn't even as high as the money they made. So, and now I should do a whole nother video on this, but I saw the ADL is like, Albert Bourla, CEO of Pfizer, anti-Semitism hate. Oh, the poor victim, the poor CEO of Pfizer because he's Jewish. They're crying like he's the victim of hate. Yeah, that poor guy, my gosh. It's like such a joke. So, I thought that stuck out to me in his speech, but if he wants to go hard on drug dealers, I think he should go hard on some of his pharma friends as well, because they've probably killed more people than your average neighborhood, cocaine dealer. With that being said, I'm going to say this about Trump running and the DeSantis and the rhetoric inside of the conservative world right now. Maybe this is just my perception and interpretation too, because I'm myself, I wake up and see my feed, not yours. I would say the MAGA Trump conservative movement right now, and I'm not generalizing, because some people are going, anomaly, I'm not that way either. This is just my read of the room, is that it's becoming very toxic and people are really getting unhinged. So like if you came to me and said, Anomaly, I'm going to vote for Trump over DeSantis if they both run, I don't care. If you came to me and said, hey, Anomaly, I'm going to vote for Rand Paul if he runs against Trump, I'll be like, for sure. If you came to me and said, Anomaly, I'm voting for Tulsi Gabbard or I'm voting independent, I don't care. I have my own opinions. I might try to have a conversation about it. But if you I met somebody on a cruise that told me he's voting Democrat, but he doesn't agree with most of my videos, but he doesn't hate me. And I thought that was fine. It's like, I'm not going to attack people based on who they're voting for at this point or they're not voting. But the rhetoric, in my perception, in MAGA world has been so toxic where I literally said, I responded to a DeSantis video, right, of him talking, and he mentioned the World Economic Forum. And I said, I hope Ron DeSantis and Rand Paul run for president. I do. Unlike a lot of Republicans, I actually believe in free market, capitalism, competition. I think it is not perfect, but it is a good system. Competition's good. So I want DeSantis to run, and I want Rand Paul to run, because I want to see DeSantis, Rand Paul. I would consider Rand Paul's almost in his political prime. I don't think he was ready in 2016. It's been 8 years. I want to see him run against Trump. I didn't even say who I was going to vote for between the three of them. I would vote for Rand Paul, I think, at this moment over both of them. But my point was, I want to see competition in the Republican Party, and I want Trump to get challenged by somebody formidable that's not Jeb Bush, because I believe competition brings out the best in everyone. When I say stuff like that, this might just be my perception, but the response has been so toxic where people will say, oh, Anomaly, it's proven you've sold out because Ron DeSantis also sold the vaccine, or you must agree with everything Ron DeSantis says. And it's like, I'm getting, maybe this is just because I'm back from vacation too and I've had like a very zen week. I'm just tired of all the negativity and nonsense within the MAGA Trump conservative world, not because I even care if you like Trump more than DeSantis, but the way people respond to me is like they try to treat me like garbage. If I say that I would vote for DeSantis over Trump, or I would vote for Rand Paul over Trump, or if I just say I want them all to run against each other so we can see who's the best, people start saying I think something I don't. It's like, oh, well, you must think that he didn't say. The straw mans and the attacks. I know a lot of conservative influencers are starting to be like, oh, anybody who wants DeSantis over Trump is paid by donors. And it's like, go to every Trump page on Instagram. I'm just being honest. DC Drano, Typical Liberal, these are my friends. They're nice people, good people. They post about Trump and their whole audience is DeSantis, 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 DeSantis. And the only people, saying they want Trump are the influencers. And I have to say to right-wing influencers, you don't want to end up like these Democrats. When you go to somebody like The Rock's Instagram post, when he says something about Trump or conservatives, the only people that agree with him are the echo chamber celebrities. And then all the people on the ground are disagreeing with The Rock. It's like this elitist status where only your celebrity friends are agreeing with you. So unfortunately, I think a lot of right-wing influencers have become like right-wing celebrities, and that's fine. But I'm noticing that in the comment section, everybody likes DeSantis except for like Raheem Kassem, journalists and like Blue Checkmark, and they have way more likes than the average citizen saying they want DeSantis. And this is all I'm saying. I don't care if you like Trump or DeSantis, but here's what right-wing influencers have to stop doing, in my perspective. Stop bullying the MAGA base and the conservative base for, wanting someone else besides Trump. You got to stop bullying people, because you're becoming the Democrat version of the elitist blue checkmark who hangs out at Mar-a-Lago, who's really detached from the average American who's tired of Trump in some sense, and they want DeSantis. He's younger. He doesn't pick a fight. He's not talking that much. He addresses the issue when it happens, but he doesn't harp on it forever. So this is all I'm saying. You can say, Anomaly, I like Trump more than DeSantis. I don't care. But stop bullying Trump supporters for stop acting like the only way you could like DeSantis over Trump is if you're paid by a donor. Like that whole, it's very toxic rhetoric. It's like, oh, if you like Bernie more than Hillary, you must be a Russian bot. Oh, if you like Trump more than Hillary, you must be a racist. You must be a Russian. I'm so tired of this. You get what I'm saying? It's like if someone says to me, I disagree with your videos, I'm still voting for Trump, I'm not going to call you a Russian. I don't think you're paid by a donor. I think that's your perspective. That's your opinion, and that's what you think. I might disagree with Trump. I might talk about him, but I'm not going to act like you're being paid to feel that way. So I'm starting to see that a lot in the influencer world, and I don't like it personally. I think it's very scummy, and I think a lot of these people are just getting way too comfortable as right-wing celebrities. So, and I'm not saying that DC, Drano, and Typical Liberal are doing that so much. I'm just saying if you read, because I like both of them, I'm saying if you read their comment section, their entire audience, for the most part, is preferring DeSantis over Trump. So everyone's not being paid to feel this way. People feel this way because DeSantis was a solid leader for Florida over the last 2 years, and Trump ran around the country's selling vaccines. It's not hard to figure out why people feel that way. As far as my perspective of Trump running, I think he can run. It's like he's a free citizen. He's the former president. He has every right to run if he wants to. I have every right to ask him questions. And here's the questions that I've continued to repeat, hoping that some right-wing journalist starts doing their job. Ask them, these are questions when it comes to DeSantis and Trump. DeSantis put in Joseph Lombardo, who's been standing up to Big Pharma. Trump hired Jerome Adams, and he hired Alex Azar, pharmacy lobbyist and executive from Eli Lilly, to run HHS, and he was very instrumental in the lockdown and the vaccine rollout. So I want to know if Trump learned his lesson and he's going to put in real American citizens fighting Big Pharma at health positions, or if Trump is a stubborn dummy and he's going to put Big Pharma at the head of the health department again. That's a big issue to me. And this is all I'm saying. And then I'm going to move on to the Elon Musk thing when I explain more. I don't care if people vote one way or the other, but stop trying to bully me. It's been 2 years of people. I have questions about Big Pharma. They try to bully me. I'm against the lockdowns. They try to bully me. I say, are we going to let this guy back into office without asking him if he's going to hand the keys to the castle to Big Pharma again? Because it doesn't seem like he learned anything. And everybody tries to bully me. It's like, you're not even letting me finish my sentence. I'm not like a DeSantis fan. And they're like, well, DeSantis sold the vaccine too. Question DeSantis. It's not like I'm at a DeSantis rally with a DeSantis thing being paid by DeSantis. DeSantis is a politician. Question him, just like Trump. But a bunch of the people in the influencer world that are being like, oh, everybody who likes DeSantis more than Trump are neocons. It's like, here's what I'm saying. Call out the donor money that DeSantis is getting. Call out the neocons. But Lindsey Graham recently posted support for Donald Trump. Lindsey Graham's the biggest neocon in the world. Are we really going to play this game? If one neocon or a couple neocons like you, then you must be a neocon. You can play that game if you want. It's not going to bother me. But, just like neocons support DeSantis, there's a lot of neocons who also support Trump's reelection. So, it's like the people that are like these Trump bootlicker, worshiper, influencers that are like, oh, if DeSantis is a neo. It's like, dude, stop acting like Trump is this innocent victim who never did anything wrong. They both have flaws. They're both politicians, but I certainly personally just can't stand the worship around Trump where it's like, everybody has double standards. If Hillary Clinton did Operation Warp Speed, it's evil. If Trump does it, it's amazing. If, DeSantis has a few bad people that support his campaign, he has to be held responsible for that. But if Trump has 20 bad people that want him to get reelected, that's okay. A lot of the same media that prefers DeSantis over Trump now preferred Trump for the last 4 years. So now, they've moved on to DeSantis, but when they like Trump. So I'm tired of like the politicking on the right. Sorry. I'm going to get some more coffee. But that's my overarching thoughts on that. As far as Trump running for re-election, this is my personal opinion as somebody who voted for him in 2020, as somebody who's made hundreds of videos defending him, as somebody who for years thought he was the greatest American citizen that maybe I've ever seen. I mean, I loved Donald Trump. I thought he was epic. I'm disappointed in him. He's not personally who I thought he was. I don't consider him an ethical or moral person. I saw who he really was during all the lockdown and after. I'm not saying he needs to be like, you can't make a mistake, but I don't believe Trump is the person who's learned from his mistakes. I think looking at how he's treating everybody, I think he's kind of the type of person that wants loyalty and he doesn't want to be questioned, which I don't like. If I don't like one of his policies, I'm not trying to get thrown out of the party because I disagree with a big pharma policy. Like that's how he treats Thomas Massie. Seems like that's how he's treating Candace Owens. He's bashing DeSantis with zero self-awareness of why people like DeSantis more than him now. So I don't think he's the type of person at this point like he used to be where it's like, oh, he's super, I like that he was ballsy. I never was bothered by his tweets, his personality. That's not what bothers me. I'm not Joe Walsh. I'm not Whoopi Goldberg. It wasn't Trump's personality or rhetoric that ever bothered me. It never mattered to me. It's just more, I thought that he was doing the right thing and now I really don't. So I think he's older. I personally think he's the only chance that Democrats have. Nobody likes Joe Biden. The Democrats have nothing going for them. The abortion train is running out. That's all they really ran on this election for. So I think if Trump gets out of the way, personally, the Republicans will easily win. And if he runs, I think it's going to be another close election because the only thing that holds the left together is their insatiable hate for Trump. And I would back Trump if I thought he was like the real deal. I'm like, I don't care how much they hate him. I'm going to back him. But I don't even think he's the real deal anymore. I think he's worse on the big pharma topic than DeSantis. I don't think he really would do as good of a draining the swamp job as Rand Paul would do. I think Rand Paul would drain the swamp better. And I even think DeSantis, has a 50-50 dice roll to drain the swamp more than Trump. I don't trust DeSantis that much, but I just don't think Trump is who everybody else thinks he is. So I'm not really excited for him to run again. I'm not voting for him in the primary. If Rand Paul or DeSantis runs at this point, I'd vote for Rand Paul first, DeSantis over Trump personally. And I don't know. I feel like Trump's giving a gift to the left-wing media and the left-wingers who all they have is their hate for him. So now I think he's going to energize the left again to rally against this, this being that is Trump. But we'll see. I pray that regardless of how I feel or how people feel against my opinion, I hope that Rand Paul runs, and I hope that Ron DeSantis runs. Not because I think they need to be worshipped. I think all politicians should be questioned. I think Trump, in a way, has created this religion around him where people feel like they can't ever hold him accountable for things he's done, and that's really creepy to me. It's becoming very cult-like, and it's weird at this point because he didn't even deliver on a lot of stuff. So, I hope people challenge him, and the fact that he's trying to just wipe everybody else out of the way and be like, bow down on my knees. You're not worth bowing down on your knees for, bro. If you want me to get on my knees and get out of the way, and you want DeSantis and Rand Paul to get out of the way and bow on your knees, tell us that you're not going to hire pharmacy lobbyists again. Tell us that you're not going to put, a bunch of sneaks in government who are not going to do that much. And, I don't like the new Trump over the last 2 or 3 years. He just seems to me like he doesn't want to do anything right. He just wants you to get out of his way. It's like, get out of my way while I sell the vaccine. Candace, if you question my vaccine sales, get out of the way. Like, he wants total loyalty, but he doesn't want to be a good person. So I'm tired of him personally. So, I hope he has competition. I wish him luck. I think he deserves a Twitter account, and I pray that somebody besides like Ted Cruz runs, because I think DeSantis blows him out of the water personally in a debate, but we never know. Competition will show all. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll read some at the end. Elon Musk took over Twitter. He's the CEO. He fired a lot of people. He rolled out a new thing where you can buy a blue check mark for $8. He seems like he's trying to do a lot of stuff. I want to start with the positives. Twitter is a huge platform. In my perspective, they censor less than Facebook or Instagram. Like, I could share an Alex Jones video on Twitter, no problem. But if I were to, I wanted to post a video of Alex Jones here because I want to show his response to Elon, but I don't even feel comfortable doing that on Facebook or YouTube because they're psychotic. I don't want to complain too much right now. I'll do that a little bit at the end. But like, Facebook took away my monetization when I went on a cruise, and I don't even know why. This is how crappy Facebook is. Like, at least tell me what video it was, what part of the video it was. I know you're lying, but how are you going to take away thousands of dollars from me and not even tell me why you did it? Like, Facebook is so evil and corrupt, and their customer service is so garbage that it's like laughable how evil big tech is and how useless they are. So I think Twitter has been censoring less, but they've been underachieving. Twitter has never until recently found a way to monetize for its users. They have a subscription thing now, and I think Elon's going to roll out video monetization, but Twitter should have done this 10 years ago because Twitter has all these people. When Twitter does monetization or when Facebook does monetization, it's not just Facebook making money and it's not just YouTube making money. It's not just you making money. YouTube and Facebook are taking like half of the ad revenue. So if Twitter lets all these creators like myself and others make money on Twitter, they get to keep billions of dollars. So why haven't they done that? Like, their business model has been underwhelming, and I think before we get into the specifics, I think Elon Musk as a businessman will do a better job with Twitter than the last people because for so long they have such a big user base and they haven't been able to capitalize off it, and Facebook and YouTube are eating their lunch when it comes to ad spend and creator money. So I don't know what they were doing before Elon got there, but in a couple weeks, he's already put together a better business model than they've had in 15 years. That's my opinion. So I think he's doing a better job with that. When it comes to free speech, I think he came under this concept of, I believe in the First Amendment. And it doesn't really seem like he does, or at least it doesn't look like he's rolling it out. He said that maybe Trump can come back. He's doing a poll. It's winning. So Trump might be back on Twitter soon. Jordan Peterson's back on Twitter, Babylon B. But I do believe that, he doesn't want Alex Jones back on. And, I don't know if he's going to let Owen Benjamin back on or, David Duke and all these people. So, personally, it's like he's not following the First Amendment because all of them would be allowed on. And I'm not saying you have to like everything everyone says. It's just that's kind of what he said he was going to do, but it doesn't seem like it. With that being said, Alex Jones responded to Elon saying that Alex wasn't allowed on. And I wish I could play it, but Alex's response was very thoughtful. Alex didn't get mad at him. Alex Jones basically said, listen, Elon's dealing with the ADL. Elon's dealing with all these left-wing groups, these global groups, the government. So Alex Jones basically said, I don't expect to be let back on. And as long as Elon puts it in the better direction, I'm going to give him some time. And I thought that was really fair and very nice of Alex because he easily could have been like, screw you, you should let me back on, free speech. But Alex was like, hey, give Elon a little bit of a break and give him a few months before we start getting upset at him. And in ways, I kind of agree with Alex because, after a week of Twitter, people were like, why isn't everything back yet? And I'm like, do people not know how companies work? I'll get into my criticisms of Elon later because I'm not saying he's perfect, but you can't. I mean, the guy just bought the company. It's not like he's a dictator and he just walks in and just shoots everybody and then like codes it himself. He's did fire some people, but he does have to, take his time on how to shift. It's not that easy to just shift an entire company. So this is all I'm saying to people. The people that are like, oh, it's been a week and he hasn't changed Twitter. It's like, give the guy a couple months to a year. You know what I'm saying? Even with Trump, I gave Trump 4 years. It's not like I said, oh, Trump didn't do anything. It's day 5. It's like, I gave Trump 4 years and, maybe he'll have 4 more, but give him a little bit, see what he does. And I do think that when you run a company, the government's breathing down your neck, the ADL's breathing down your neck, a lot of these social justice organizations are, so it's a difficult task. But we'll see. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I guess I don't really expect that much. There's old like Taoist sayings that they, and Buddhist sayings that say, expectations are the root of all unhappiness, because when you expect something, you're always going to be disappointed. When it comes to Elon Musk, I'm rarely disappointed because I don't expect anything out of him. So when I compliment Elon Musk, people are like, oh, you're a shill. And it's like, guys, I think maybe this is just my perception, but people get mad at me because they see themselves in me. Like if you worship Trump or you worship Elon or you hate Elon or you worship somebody else that you like better, then you think that I do that as well. It's like, I think Elon's funny. I think he'll be a better businessman with Twitter, but I don't trust him. So if he does something crazy messed up, it's not like I'm not like emotional about it. Like, oh my God, Elon Musk just turned his back. He's not my best friend. He's a billionaire who's kind of left-wing, kind of conservative, but not really at all. He's just like a moderate, independent left-winger. So if he makes Twitter better, great. If he doesn't, whatever. And I would say I think he's going to make it better, but he's not going to be like a Christian conservative. He never was. He never will be. And I think he's going to fall short of the First Amendment. But if he can, make it a little bit better, that's fine. I'm not really that invested in it personally, so I don't really care. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section on the Trump thing, on the Elon thing, and I just want to let you guys know, getting out of social media for a week, I do it all the time and I enjoy it. I don't mind it. It was nice to take a break. And when you log back into Twitter, this is something I've always realized, but I always say this and I fail, but I like Twitter for news. I think Twitter is the best place to get news. When you log in, you get every video, every article. It's a great feed. It's like the new version of the print press, but instead of just one newspaper, you get like 100 newspapers. So I think for news, Twitter is an A+. For dialogue and conversation and debating, I think Twitter's an F. It's not because it's bad, but video chatting is a little bit realer than text chatting. Everything I say on Twitter gets misconstrued and it just ends up bothering me. So I'm sure this happens to people on Facebook and Instagram too. But, I'm going to start using Twitter to read news and talk a little bit. But I think I want to have my conversations on video because I can explain myself. I say one thing on Twitter and people get a whole nother thing and just start arguing with me and treating me like shit. And I'm like, it's not fun, especially taking a week away from it. The second I get back, people are like, oh, it's like, it's so annoying. So I'm going to try to stick to the video content, try to do some other stuff, use Twitter for news, but I can't just reading text all the time. It's not fun, especially when you just tap out of the screen for a while. It's like we're all trapped in the algorithm, and I'm not trying to act like I just went on like a spiritual trip or something. I'm a holier than thou. I'm just saying, they've brainwashed a lot of people, and I'm not saying it's the tech companies. It's a lot of our own doing, just who we follow. But a lot of people are getting caught in their echo chamber and they're fighting aimlessly. You get what I'm saying? Like somebody will get mad at me for saying I would vote for DeSantis over Trump. It doesn't mean that I trust DeSantis or I think he's going to save my life. I just am tired of Trump and I slightly like DeSantis more at this moment in time. With that being said, I don't really care who you vote for. I'm not going to treat you bad. I think this country is not going to get saved by Trump or DeSantis, and certainly not Joe Biden. I think Republicans will do a slightly better job. But that illusion is gone. Like I said, Trump is Big Pharma. I call him Old Man Pharma or Grandpa Moderna because the dude is like, he came into office as a vaccine skeptic and he turned into a big vaccine salesman, saying the mRNA vaccines were amazing. the point I'm getting to is this is not going to save our country. An 80-year-old guy who fights with the left all the time and sells like mRNA vaccines, our country's sold out to Big Pharma. So if you want to heal America, we have to get to the root of like 3 things in America, in my opinion, that Trump's not going to do, DeSantis probably will do it a little more, but not that much, and Biden's never going to do. First of all, the pharmacy industry is killing our country. Our food and diet and exercise, I guess I'll just combine 2 and 3, which is diet, food, and exercise. Our country's too fat and our country's too addicted to pills. So everybody gets mad at my opinion, like, oh, you got to like Trump more. I don't have to do anything. I don't care. At this point, I don't even really care who wins president in 2024. Our country's too fat and our country's too addicted to pills. Trump's not going to change that. DeSantis is very unlikely to change that. Biden's never going to change that. So at this point, I'm more interested in long-term stuff, and I think that, I'm going to tap out. It's not like I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing, but I'm not going to debate on Twitter with people anymore. I'm laser focused because when Trump wins office, 4 years of Trump, the country moves further left socially. It's more gay, maybe he got a Supreme Court justice or 3 in, so the abortion thing overturned, but for the most part, our country goes further left even when a right-wing president wins, and we end up in a lockdown and we don't even get anything that much done. Why does the left win even when Republicans win? It's simple. Right-wingers love to argue about Trump and DeSantis. Right-wingers love to go on college campuses and yell at blue-haired liberals and sell MAGA sweaters and, sniff butts at Mar-a-Lago. And left-wingers control media, education. So as you're fighting over who you like better, Trump or DeSantis, they're brainwashing your kids and your kids' kids, so 90% of them vote Democrat and don't even know what gender they are. So the point that I'm getting to is the reason the left wing wins, even when right-wing politicians win office, is because the left-wingers have figured out how to control our country, control our media, control the education, and control the minds of the masses. So, the real battle is the cultural battle, and you're not going to win it by making fun of 19-year-old haired blue liberals and just like doing the same script over and over or getting mad at me. So I'm laser focused on things that actually matter. I think our country's too fat, and I think our country's too addicted to pills. I don't think so. I know so. So here's a few things I'm working on. The food in this country is unhealthy. It's not just the amount of food we're eating, which is definitely a problem, but it's also the quality of food. People got to understand that, as the greatest nation in the world, we don't have the greatest food in the world. Far from it. A lot of stuff that is illegal in other countries because it's known to cause issues is legal in America. Because just like Big Pharma owns the politicians, big agriculture and big industry controls the Food and Drug Administration as well on the food side. So you have corrupt companies like Bayer and Monsanto merging. This is like a nightmare merger. They have a nightmarish history. Go into the history of Monsanto and Bayer. Part of it goes to Nazi Germany. The other part goes to the, Manhattan Project. I mean, this is like corruption on corruption from Roundup to, Zyklon, whatever. It's like, so these companies merge, and now they own all the food, all the spray, and a lot of the drugs. And nobody's talking about it. And, this is why our food's so crappy, because these companies, not just them, but other ones, they control the politicians the same way Big Pharma controls Biden and Trump. You think, and the funny thing, I don't want to harp on this too much, but the funny thing is when I see responses to what I'm saying about Trump selling vaccines too much, people actually belittle Donald Trump to defend him. The same way kind of, Trump got mad at Candace because Candace tried to be like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like that's people's excuse. And then Trump got mad at her apparently because she said that. The excuses I see on my Twitter are like Trump is like, it's the similar thing that Candace said. I'm not saying she said exactly, but someone on my Twitter said, oh, anomaly, Trump is a boomer. He doesn't understand vaccine. Like your defense of Trump is that he's too dumb and old to know vaccines. This is someone on my Twitter. The truth is Trump came into office as a vaccine skeptic. He's not as like, you think he's stupid. That it's like, oh, anomaly, you don't think Trump's that dumb. I think he's dumb. So that's why it's like, how do you love this guy but also think he's too stupid to know how pharmaceuticals work? Like, he's not that big of a boomer when it comes to vaccines. He had a more ethical stance when he came into office, but he sold out. He made a tweet before he ran for office. I don't remember the exact tweet. You could Google it, where he made fun of Marco Rubio. When Trump was crushing, when Trump was actually Trump, he said something along the lines of, Marco Rubio is going to be Sheldon Adelson's perfect little puppet, and he's going to do whatever he wants. Because Sheldon Adelson he's dead now, rest in peace. He was the big, and now his wife Miriam probably took over, but he was the big right-wing Jewish donor who was paying off, all the politicians. So Trump looked at Marco Rubio and he said, "You're going to be Sheldon Adelson's perfect little puppet." The irony is Donald Trump turned into Sheldon Adelson's perfect little puppet. He got the money. He gave his wife a presidential Medal of Freedom, and he did everything he said Marco Rubio was going to do. So it's like when I point this stuff out, it's like he became what he hated. The only defense people have at this point is like, anomaly, no, Trump is too dumb to know anything. And it's like, he's too dumb to know vaccines, even though when he ran for office, he knew more than he knew now. Like, it doesn't, like, it's just getting, the cultism around him is just getting weird. It's getting very, very bizarre. But, to think big picture, nobody's coming to save us. Nobody's making us less fat. Nobody's making us less addicted to pills. Big Pharma controls the Republicans and the Democrats. They control the Democrats more, the Republicans slightly less. Big Pharma controlled Trump and Biden. They controlled Biden more, but they still controlled Trump. And, big agriculture, nobody's even talking about it besides Thomas Massey. So if we want America to be great, I'm not running in circles. I'm not fighting with people for 4 years over Trump and DeSantis because I don't even really care that much who wins. I just think Trump is the worst candidate. He's a proven liar at this point who talks a lot and doesn't do that much. He became the puppet he said he wasn't going to be. And I think he's the only chance that the Democrats have. I think the only message they have is not Trump. So if he runs, he's giving them a present. With that being said, I'm focused on the food, the drugs, and healing our country that way, and the culture, because even when Republicans win, they still lose. And I'm breaking from the norm, but all these right-wing influencers, I think a lot of them are just self-serving. I think all they want to do is dunk on college students, make money, and go to Mar-a-Lago. I think that Patty said you're a total traitor. Why am I a traitor, Patty? Because I said that Big Pharma lobbies both parties. I mean, thank you for being psychotic, Patty, because you're perfectly illustrating what I'm talking about. I'll be like, Big Pharma lobbies both politicians. You're like freaking out. You're like a rabid, animal. It's like you've replaced religion with Donald Trump. So if I say, Ted Cruz got money from Big Pharma, you're like, yeah. If I said, Biden got money from Big Pharma, you're like, yeah. Nancy Pelosi gets money from Pharma. Yeah. Trump got money from Big Pharma. It's like, I'm so tired of these people. It's been 4 years of you guys trying to bully me and call me a traitor. Go away. Go crawl back to your little psycho hole. You know what I'm saying? You're probably jacked up. I'm not saying you personally, but Lord knows that most of this country's jacked up on pharmacy pills, just getting fat, sitting on the couch waiting for Donald Trump or Joe Biden to save them. I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? I'm over people trying to bully. Oh, both parties are corrupt. Yeah, he's getting paid. Yeah, Trump's getting paid. Oh my God. Oh no, my hero. I'm so tired of this guy. He's made millions of people like brainwashed psychos. Like, get over it. He took money from Pfizer. He took money from Pharma, and he sold mRNA vaccines just like Bill Gates did. Did that hurt your feelings? Are you going to freak out? Are you going to poop your pants, before Sean Hannity comes on? Get over yourself. I'm over it. And what I'm trying to say to a lot of right-wing influencers is, it's okay to make fun of liberals because they're dumb and it's funny, but at a certain point, most of the kids are leaning left-wing because the left is pandering to them and the right just makes fun of them so they can get free Mar-a-Lago trips to lick boots. It's like, do you want to win the future or not? I got a lot of people that are left-wing that watch me. It's not because I compromise my values. I don't sit here. In many ways, I'm further right-wing than even Trump is on certain issues. I just don't act like annoying. I'm not like a high school girl that's like, ooh. Like, it's like people, it's like, I'm 33 and I'm one of the biggest adults in politics, and I'm not bragging. It's pathetic. I should be like the crazy one. I'm a hip hop artist. I should be the most ignorant person in the entire thing. I could come here, just rap and say stupid stuff, and people probably still like it. But I'm like one of the bigger adults in this game because you have like 60-year-olds acting like mean girls, where it's like, Susie didn't get invited to Mar-a-Lago, and it's like, what are we? What are you serving yourself? Or are you trying to put out a message that actually resonates? that people will vote for. Say what you want about DeSantis. He's not your hero. He's probably going to be sneaky as well, and he might deceive you, and he probably already has. He definitely already has. But in general, I know some progressives and left-wingers that are like, I would vote for DeSantis because I've seen him do stuff on the environment, and they don't despise him because he's not annoying. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't act like a high school girl. He just does things and then defends himself and moves on to the next topic. He doesn't, you know what I'm saying? He's like an effective leader. A lot of independents like him. I mean, he turned Florida into a red state from a swing state. So there's something to be said about different ways of being, convincing. Matt Walsh did a great job with his what's it called? The Woman documentary. Millions of Democrats watch that and they agree with it. So and Matt Walsh doesn't compromise his values. He's further right wing than most of the Republican Party. He's hardcore Christian, but you don't have to compromise your values to be convincing and do something. But so many people are just licking the boots of Donald Trump, or they're just trying so hard to be in the Republican Party that they're chasing away millions of people. And I'm going to say this for sure. When it comes to the left, I'm not asking you to compromise your values, but there's tens of millions of good kids out there whose parents never told them anything. The television's lying to them, and all their favorite pop stars are lying to them. So why don't you have a bit of empathy and compassion for these people, especially because they're 18, 19, 20 years old, some younger, and say, hey, instead of making fun of these kids all the time, which is just going to lead them to be further left, why don't we try to figure out how to get the message to them instead of bullying them? And the most pathetic thing in the right-wing movement is most of the people bullying these little liberal college kids are 30-year-old men. It's I beat a girl in a debate. It's I would hope so. You're 45 and you have a family. Wow, you beat a 18-year-old in a debate. Good job, Ben Shapiro. It's just getting pathetic, So I'm not saying to sugarcoat it. I'm not saying to compromise your values, but try to win over the youth instead of just making fun of them. And for sure, in the Republican Party, people got to stop freaking out at people who like DeSantis more than Trump, and people have to stop freaking out at people who just say things you're going to call me I don't care, but you're going to call me a traitor because I said that Big Pharma is lobbying both sides of politics. People are going insane over Trump, and it's instead of being okay, I understand. If you wanted me to vote for Trump over DeSantis, you're not gonna you're not gonna treat me like garbage, and you're just gonna push me further to a different side where I just don't care about anything you say at all. That's how human society works. So when you have half of the party or more thinking about voting for DeSantis over Trump, they don't hate Trump, they just prefer DeSantis more. Why don't you try to pitch to them why Trump's a better option? Say, hey, here's why Trump would be better than DeSantis. Instead of being oh, you're a paid operative. Oh, I mean, you're literally doing what the left does. Oh, you're Russian. Oh, yeah, that's the only. It's that's what a lot of these influencers are trying to do to DeSantis people. It's stop. You don't have to agree with me, but someone said DeSantis is a war criminal. Look at his military record. I'm not going to freak out at you and be ooh, DeSantis is my hero. Say what you want, Someone said Ivy League is sketchy. Ask him a question. People think he's in Skull and Bones. Why doesn't somebody ask him? You think I'm going to gatekeep and be don't question Ron DeSantis. Don't question him. Don't question him. Feel free to ask the guy questions. Be are you a war criminal? Are you in Skull and Bones? Did you pass a speech law? Are you a neocon? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to vote for Rand Paul over Trump, I'm not asking you to kiss his ass. He's a politician. You know what I'm saying? I can't relate to this. Even when I really like Donald Trump, I used to watch David Icke videos, and David Icke used to always say, Trump's sold out. Trump's not who you think he is. Trump works for Israel. David Icke's been saying that for 6 years. I never once thought to just be oh, shut. I didn't even agree with it at the time, but I wasn't mad that David Icke was critical of Trump. I actually learned a lot. I learned a lot about Trump that I wouldn't hear from other media, from conservative people who were critical of him. I mean, that's how you learn things. So if you have questions about DeSantis, feel free to ask him. Feel free to, check him. But what I would say is don't take it out on the voters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like Trump anymore. I've told people that for years. I don't like what he did during Operation Warp Speed. I think it's evil. And a lot of people will say, I want to just give a quick example. A lot of people will say, but Anomaly, he didn't mandate the vaccine. All right, let's go to what he said about drug dealers. Ready? Trump said he wants the death penalty for drug dealers. I'm not even going to disagree right now. Do drug dealers mandate the drugs? No. There's not a single drug dealer that mandates their drugs besides Big Pharma. So if Trump, so it's not like fentanyl's not mandated, opioids weren't mandated, cocaine's not mandated, but Trump still wants to do the death penalty for them. Do you know why? Because mandates aren't the only evil thing. It is evil in my opinion, but it's not like the only thing. Oh, if he didn't mandate it, it's good. No drug dealer in America mandates it, but they're still evil. You know what I'm saying? If they're dealing bad drugs to people. So people got to stop getting brainwashed by, well, if he didn't mandate it, it must be really good. No, it's not good. Operation Warp Speed's evil. I consider it the biggest drug deal in modern history. I mean, Operation Warp Speed makes El Chapo look like Chauncey Billups. I don't know why I said that, but I did. Operation Warp Speed's the biggest drug deal in modern history. Operation Warp Speed is probably the biggest drug deal in human history. Not the greatest human achievement like Trump says. He's lying. Oh, Anomaly, you're a traitor. No, he's lying. I call a lie a lie. If Donald Trump says the sky's green, but it's blue, I'm not going to say, well, it must be green because I like it. No, it's blue. If he says Operation Warp Speed is the greatest human achievement in modern history, I'll say, no, it's not. It's the most evil drug deal in modern history. It makes El Chapo look like a nobody. It makes him look like a neighborhood, crack dealer on a swing set. So I'm just saying. Thank you, Paul. Paul got my Chauncey Billups. I don't know why I said that. It just kind of came out. I was trying to think of somebody that wasn't as big as El Chapo. I don't know why I thought of an NBA player, but whatever. Thank you to people who laughed. I appreciate it. There's going to be like 10% laughter, 80% people ticked off. But yeah, I mean, that's what it is. We'll see what happens. And someone said you're non-biased, which is good. I try to be fair, but I also try to be thoughtful where you get what I'm saying? I don't think everybody who votes left-wing is a terrible person. I do think they're misled. I do think that left-wingers do nothing wrong, but how do you want to get through to somebody? It's like I would vote for Rand Paul over Trump, but if there's going to be 30 people that vote for Trump over DeSantis, I'm not going to say they're all paid off or they're all evil. You're not, if you're watching this video right now, as long as you're not the lady calling me a traitor, if you say, Anomaly, I don't agree with you, I'm going to vote for Trump, that's your choice. I mean, that's as a citizen, you get to look at DeSantis and you get to look at Trump and you get to say, I want to roll the dice with Trump again over DeSantis. And it's my job to convince you otherwise. Treating you like garbage is that going to convince you? Me just bullying you? And that's what a lot of people are doing to me. Even since the lockdown, a lot of these Q people are like, Anomaly, this is Trump's secret plan to arrest the pedophiles. Lockdowns are good. Bullying me. It's like, lockdowns are not good. You flipped it. You know what I'm saying? You got your conspiracies mixed up. You're 80% on point, but you're 20% messed up. But for some reason, people think that's going to make me like Trump more. That's going to tell me, like, I told people why I like DeSantis more than Trump. They both passed the speech laws for Israel. That's what all the Republicans do, or else you don't get invited places. Doesn't make it right. Just is what it is. DeSantis sold the vaccine just like Trump, but DeSantis sold it a lot less and was a lot more honest about it. Trump decided to go on a Bill Gates vaccine tour and be the father of the vaccine and sell vaccines more than anyone I've ever seen. With that being said, someone just said, F you. It's like, why are you cursing? I mean, what's wrong with you, lady? I don't even know who you are, Alexandria, but you're literally like cursing. People are like rabid animals over this stuff. Aren't you don't you have a family to tend to or something? It's like you got grown women just like cursing at me in capitals on Facebook. Like, go to bed, Alexandria. You need a nap. You need a workout routine or something. Kill some of the stress. Like, after a week off the phone, who wants to come back to the computer to just get called a traitor and have like grown moms just screaming? What part are you even mad about? I haven't even said anything that crazy. I'm like, stop bullying people and don't take it out on the actual person. You're F you! I'm going to be pissed off on Facebook the rest of my life. I'm going to be pissed. I want to. Okay, then just scream at me in all caps. I'm sure it's gonna make you feel better, Alexandria. I'm sure I'm the problem in your life. The live stream that you logged onto, I'm the problem. It's not like I'm mandated and I pop up on your screen and you're trying to turn it off and eat dinner with your family, but I won't leave. You came here. I don't even know who you are. Someone says Facebook still exists. It does. Someone said they're so angry. I'm like, treat people better. And they're like, F you, F you. I'm going to treat people like crap. I'm going to yell at college kids, and then my daughter's going to go to college and come back a liberal, and she's going to hate me. But at least I'm going to be on the message boards trusting the plan and watching Sean Hannity with his CIA pin. It's like, okay. The real revolution is like, if you have kids, raise them right. If you live in America and you see that this country's too fat and on pills, don't be that. You know what I'm saying? Try to get in better shape, because if you're not, pharmacy is going to prey on you, and big agriculture. All right, I'm going to read this comment because it just seems kind of crazy. Non-Beefy Production said, Anomaly, you are the living spirit of the Kabbalah, birds drinking from the tree shirt rising up in between two pillars. You have the stars on your head worn like a crown. I mean, I bought this shirt for like $25 at a... What's the name of the store? Not Ralph's. Ross. I bought this shirt at Ross for $25, and this I think I bought at CVS for $10. So if you want to believe that I'm wearing Kabbalah stuff because of a shirt I bought at Ross and an American Patriot hat I bought at CVS, that's on you. You're allowed to do that, but... This is like the internet nowadays. I have like grown moms cursing at me on Facebook. I have YouTube people saying I do Kabbalah because I'm wearing a shirt I bought at Ross. Like, I'm having fun with it because I'm not going to complain. Like, there's way harder jobs in this world, and there's countries where, people have to work even harder than Americans. So this is the land of opportunity. I'm blessed to be here, but I'm just going to be honest. Like, I'm having fun. I'm not going to tamper a good time. But, this is the life of being on the phone too much. You log into Twitter, people treat you like shit. You make a Facebook video, people make up shit about you. I'm just being honest. I'm trying to, stack up and just, completely do something else. I'm not going to complain. I like what I do. I'm blessed. I'm fortunate. But it's who wants to deal with this forever? It's not ideal. When you become when you're a truther or you're there's no top to it. The higher you get, the more people just accuse you of things because they're like, how did you get there? How come I didn't get there? How come I got this taken down? I'm like, do you want to see my bank statements or my censorship statements? I just have my TikTok deleted, Do you want me to delete my, I get it. Someone said, bro, you've been complaining for 10 minutes. I must be the best complainer ever because you're still watching. People are like, you've been complaining for 10 minutes. Well, you could have been watching ESPN or you could have been watching Jimmy Kimmel, or Jimmy Fallon. Hey guys, sponsored by Pfizer. You could have been watching that, but apparently this is a great complaint. This is a gold medal complaining session because you're still here. I like arguing with people. It's kind of enjoyable for me in a weird way. It's I wouldn't say it's a fetish, but it's I love when people are just cursing at me. I have to remind you, and then people think I'm complaining about it. I'm just being factual. You clicked on my YouTube. I don't know that I've ever been on a YouTube and just started blaming them. I'm like, I'm stuck. I hate you. I'm like, bro, I'm not maybe you're on drugs or something, but I'm not. I didn't open the channel. I've had people literally on my Patreon. They're like, you're stealing my money. I'm like, I didn't sign up for your pay. It's not like I hacked your bank statement and made you sign up to my Patreon. You signed up to the Patreon. Well, how do I unsign? It's really easy, actually. I've done it myself, but I can't do it for you. You know what I'm saying? It's like you telling me it's my fault. It's my fault you're on Facebook. It's like, click the log out button, lady. What cruise line? I'm not trying to get into specifics, but let's just say I had a good... I'm stuck on the channel. It's like, just click the X. You know what I'm saying? Play Minesweeper. Play chess. The cruise was great though. I mean, I had a blast. Got to play sports, got to eat, shows, comedy. Psh, I love cruises. No test, no vaccine, no mask. Tell me, well, I hung out with my mom and my stepfather. They came to hang out with me for a few days. We went deep sea fishing. I showed them around where I live. I went on a cruise with them for 7 days. We went to Mexico, hung out with my mom a lot. It was epic, you know, family time, party time, vacation time, take a break from the screen time, real life time, sports time. Just a good time. That's it. Now I'm back. Now I'm back to my job where I get yelled at by women on Facebook. F you! F you! F you! It sounds like a pterodactyl to me. I'm like, whoa, what did I say? What did I even say? I'm trying to even think of what I was saying at the time, because obviously some things I say are going to be like piss people off, but I'm like, you know, people got to stop treating everyone like shit. And you're like, I'm like, getting that mad at me is not going to make your life better. If you're saying F you to me when I'm saying to treat people better, I'm guessing you have some really, really, really dark stuff going on, but that's okay. Someone said my mom passed yesterday. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. God bless you, Bobby Bear. God bless you, Bobby J. So, all right, let's read some comments. Who's Joey Mushmouth? Oh, is that what you call Joe Biden? Joey Mushmouth? Yeah, he's not a good president. I hope he loses. I'm tired of the stocks going down, and Democrats do not help that. But also, in my opinion, Republicans also imploded the economy in 2020, and none of them seem to apologize for it. So I vote Republican. I voted all Republican this election. I'm going to vote all Republican last election. Or next election. I'm voting all Republican until anything changes, which it's not. But I can't act like, oh, the Democrats are destroying the economy, but the Republicans are really good. That's what everyone else is saying, but it's not true. The Republicans imploded the economy in 2020 purposely under the name of COVID, and not a single one of them has even apologized besides Thomas Massey, who doesn't have to apologize because he knew it was a scam the whole time. So I'm going to keep voting Republican, but I just don't think... I'm over this like fake Republican illusion where it's like, oh, the Democrats are, it's like, yeah, they suck. I'll vote Republican, but Joey Mushmouth is doing a worse job than Republicans, but I don't think they really helped us that much when they were in power. But someone asked if I caught some fishes when I deep sea fished. Yeah, I did. I caught like 5 fish or something. Not anything too big, but I caught one like 5 different fish. I was doing well. Someone said anomaly going liberal. See, this is like, I'm not going to get annoyed, but like I think we've had this conversation on my live stream, like, I don't know, 100 times. Like, you know, I'll be like, I'm a registered Republican, but I'm more conservative than the party because they print money and do socialist stuff, and I'm against that. And then they're like, are you a liberal? Because you believe in what? Like, no, what I'm saying is the Republicans tell you they're capitalists, and then they do socialism and communism. They print a bunch of money. They give the CDC power. Operation Warp Speed was a socialist pharma corrupt scheme. I'm against that. I'm what Trump and Republicans pretend they are. You know how they talk and tell you they believe in capitalism? I actually believe that, okay? I'm not a liberal. They're liberal, okay? The Republican Party is a socialist party pretending to be a capitalist party. I actually believe in competition. So when I want Ron DeSantis to run, it's because I want Trump to have competition. That's called capitalism. Competition, not get out of my way and let me give more money to Big Pharma. So stop for the 10,000th time. Stop calling me a liberal when I say that I'm against money printing. Someone brainwashed you to think that it's okay for Republicans to do socialism when there's an elephant next to their name. It's so childish. It's like, what I want to do, like, I'm not trying to be rude, but I understand that most of the country's under some sort of a spell. Whether they're addicted to pharmacy pills, whether they're just eating Big Macs too much, or, you know, just like addicted to like Trump worship, or they hate Trump. So I'm like, how do I make a business so I don't have to deal with this stuff anymore? I'm not complaining, but it's like, it's tiring. I'm tired of the 1,000th time. Are you a liberal? It's like, are people this dumb? Is there another profession I can do or something? Is there something else I can like talk about, because I'm tired. Like, I can't have the same discussion for 8 years on loop. And I want to say this too, like tapping out of it for a week, it's literally what people do. When I left for the cruise and when I came back for the cruise on Twitter, people are still having the same conversations and they're going nowhere. The same thing. Well, who do you like better, DeSantis or Trump? Well, I like DeSantis. Well, you like Trump. It's like, it's the same. Where is this going? And then, like, it's not going anywhere. Let's actually do something. I'm going to start something that actually makes a difference. I'm not having the same discussion 1,000 times in a row because people think you must be a liberal if you think the Republican Party is phony. Am I going to make a song about DeSantis like I did about Trump? It's a fair question. I am never making a song about a politician again. Never. I've learned my lesson. I've done it one too many times. Mostly it's because when you talk about politics a lot, I only rap about what I'm inspired to rap about. So it wasn't like a big, I want to capitalize off this moment. If that's what my life is, that's where my head is, and that's what I want to rap about. So, after Bernie and Trump, I've learned my lesson. No more politician songs. No Ron DeSantis song, for sure. No DeSantis song. No Chuck Schumer song ever. I'm not even going to do a Thomas Massey song. Even he doesn't deserve a song. I might drop a line. Might have a Trump line or a DeSantis line in a song, but no more theme songs about politicians. I've learned my lesson. Hashtag never again. Rap about Mexico. I didn't really go off the boat that much. I'm not gonna lie. I was on a cruise, Jacqueline. I was sailing the seas. I love cruises. Cruise. I want to live on a cruise boat, but not really. I mean, it would get a little tiresome, but I had so much fun. Sing about my blank. I'm not going to do that. John Fetterman needs a song. No, he needs a nap, and he probably needs some pharmaceutical drugs. I don't recommend pharmaceutical drugs for most people, but I think Fetterman could use a few pills. I don't know what type of pills, but maybe some water. Let's see. New song, The Salesman. I don't want to make any more politician songs right now, but honestly, some people are going to get mad, but I do want to make a mini documentary called The Father of the Vaccine. I think I'm going to do that because it's not to like just bash Trump, but I want to document all of this stuff because people don't realize, I've talked about it a lot, so I'm not going to say it again, but people don't realize how deep it goes. It didn't just happen in 2020. If you look at the lawsuit, look this up. I mean, we've said it before, but most people forget this. Look up the lawsuit of Moderna suing Pfizer. The patent for the COVID technology, I'm not saying they had the vaccine done then because then it's like a fact check thing. It's not, but the patent that they're suing over is from 2000 to 2010 to 2016. So Moderna is suing Pfizer. Moderna has a partnership with the government. The government's suing Moderna. Moderna's suing Pfizer for a patent that's from 2010 to 2016. In 2016, Trump put a pharmacy lobbyist at the head of HHS. He turned his back on RFK Jr. and vaccine injuries, and he turned with Fauci and Gates, and then Gates had a meeting with him, and then Trump rolled out Gates' universal flu vaccine plan in 2019. In 2020, the guy who declared the emergency, there's a story to be told, okay? Just because Trump didn't mandate, there's a real scandal going on or a story going on with Operation Warp Speed. If you care about drug dealers, Operation Warp Speed is the biggest drug deal in modern history, and I don't think very many people can put it all together like I can. So I'm going to do it because it's one of these things, I just want to get it done and then put it out there, and then people can watch it if they want. Because I'm tired. I don't want to have the same conversation 1,000 times. I want to put all my thoughts, all the videos, all the proof, all the evidence, all the articles, all the court cases in one video. Call it The Father of the Vaccine, Operation Warp Speed. Let everybody see it, and that's what it is. And I didn't choose that to be what happened, but it did. I'm gonna do it at some point, but I have a few other things. Did they want to see passports again for international travel? Yeah, you need a passport, but you don't need a vaccine. You don't need a test. They're done testing. So the cruise line I went on, no test, no vaccine. It's a good time. I'm excited. And I'm getting I mean, I don't have to tell people this because I'm entitled to take my own. I'm not like a politician. All the money I have is mine. It's not like I'm like working for nonprofits or anything. It's all business. But someone on my Instagram is like, "Oh, Anomaly is living high and mighty with all the money." I'm like, I got the cruise for free. You know what I'm saying? I get free cruises. So, they're throwing cruises at me. One, because of my membership, but also, the prices are cheaper than they used to be because not that many people are going on cruises right now as they used to. So after the pandemic, they're struggling a little. So I don't have to tell people. I could take a $10,000 vacation if I wanted to, but people are like, "Oh, he's taking our money and going on." I could go wherever I want, but it was free. I mean, you could think I spent $10,000, but I spent $400 in port fees and stuff. I mean, I get free cruises. I'm going on another cruise with my little brother, free. Then I'm going on another cruise later next year, free. I got 3 free cruises. Get out, stop hating on the boy. Cruise King. Someone said Fetterman's favorite rap group is Lumpy by Nature. That was pretty funny. Who said that? Jim Jones. Appreciate it. Someone said Your Money. Well, that's another reason I don't want to run for office for multiple reasons, but I like my money to be my money. I'm not like greedy or anything, but like I don't like if you get a bunch of like campaign money, I remember someone's campaign. I don't remember who it was. Some Republican. They're like, "Anomaly, can you believe he used his campaign money to stay at this hotel?" And I'm like, "What do you want him to stay at a Motel 6 or something?" Like I'm not like above staying at a shitty hotel, but at this point in my life, I'd rather spend a couple hundred and stay at a nice hotel than spend 50 and stay at one where I might get stabbed. So it's like I've stayed at bad hotels, but it's like I don't want people micromanaging my money. It's not like I'm greedy or so I'm going to spend it all myself. But when you run for office, first of all, people give you money, you buy ads, you turn into a big phony. But then everything has to be like so accounted for. Like, "Oh, you can't spend it on that." It sounds like a hassle to me. Not just because of the money thing. It's just like it's just annoying. I don't want people. "Oh, he stayed at this hotel." Like, okay, that's fine. I guess it's just not fine if you stay at like 50 hotels and go on like 7 vacations or something on campaign money. That's not cool, but that doesn't sound fun. What do I think about Citizens United and corporations being seen as a citizen? I mean, I think people need to pay attention to lobbyists, but here's another problem with the Trump era, and it's not just Republicans or Trump's fault. It's the left's fault as well. There was a huge push before Trump came into office from the left to get money out of politics. I mean, they weren't going to do it, but it's true. And Matt Gaetz understands this too. I saw a viral video of Matt Gaetz or Matt Getz. He's legit. He told the truth about this. He's talking about lobbying in politics, and he's trying to close a bunch of the loopholes. This is how it works. Foreign lobbyists, domestic lobbyists, corporations, Citizens United, PACs. People pay money to get things done, whether it's Big Pharma, etc. So as long as politicians are getting paid, they're going to do what the people paying them tell them to do, and they're not going to serve you. They're going to serve their donors and the corporate class. This is true. The left used to understand this. Here's the crazy part. When Trump ran for office, it's not his fault specifically, but for whatever reason, the response to Trump broke the brains of both sides of politics. Now you have left-wingers who are like sucking off Pfizer as if Pfizer's like, Brad Pitt or something, and Fauci's literally Brad Pitt. And it's like, didn't you guys used to be against lobbying? You think Pfizer's not lobbying politicians? Why do you think they're getting so much done? Because they're so great? Because they're lobbying politicians. But now the left wing doesn't care about lobbying because they hate Trump and Republicans so much that they just love pharmacy lobbyists. And then the right wing, they curse me off and say F you when I say that Republicans and Trump are getting paid off by pharmacy lobbyists, because they are. For some reason, the Trump era broke the brains of both sides of politics, and it's so frustrating. It's like, that's how politics works. Sheldon Adelson paid off the Republican Party. Big Pharma paid off both parties. There's lobbyists, domestic and foreign, who are paying off both parties. That's the truth. That's how politics works. Oh, but I don't want to hear it because I'm a liberal and I hate Trump, so I love Big Pharma. Well, Trump, I'm a Trump supporter, and it's like, I love him more than I love the truth. It's like, whatever. But it's so cringe. Like, The same person that would love if I said Nancy Pelosi got money from them will literally call me a traitor and curse me off if I say that Republicans also get paid off. They do. I told people, I'm giving you something that Kanye West lost $6 million to tell, okay? I don't have that much money to lose, okay? I'm putting my entire income on the line to tell you how the Republican Party works. So instead of cursing me off, maybe just say thank you, Anomaly, because I'm putting my whole monetary system on the line. Trump and DeSantis both passed speech laws that follow a certain code. I believe it's called the Holocaust Memorial Remembrance Alliance or something. There's a certain Holocaust Memorial Jewish group that creates a list of hate speech laws. And they say these are the 30 hate speech laws or whatever they are that are anti-Semitic and you can't say this and it's hate speech. And all of a sudden, Ron DeSantis passes those exact rules into law. The State Department puts those exact rules on their website. Donald Trump puts those exact rules through executive order. The ADL's asking Elon Musk to push those exact rules on Twitter. The exact rule. You think that Trump and DeSantis just woke up one day and said, I'm going to take these 30 specific hate speech rules and pass them into legislation? Of course not. They didn't just come up with these rules. They're created by, I believe, the Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, whatever. Some sort of Jewish group that created these rules, and then they push them to groups and they do them. Why do you think DeSantis and Trump passed them? I'm going to give you a hint. They didn't come up with it. I'm guessing their donors and lobbyists did, because just like Democrats, they get lobbied also. There's donors that give hundreds of millions of dollars to Republicans too. And if you want to know the truth, I think Trump is pissed off at DeSantis because a bunch of the donors that used to donate their money to Trump so he could be their perfect little puppet are now giving donor money to DeSantis so DeSantis could be their perfect little puppet. I don't think Trump's pissed at DeSantis because he's so much more real than DeSantis. I think Trump's pissed at DeSantis because they realize that he's a smoother character that can get more done, so they're giving DeSantis the donor money. They're fighting over donor money. And I'll tell you another thing that nobody's going to tell you, and I'm not going to say specific names because it's behind the scenes and I'm a respectful person, but I've had other influencers argue like over each other, oh, don't talk to them, don't talk to them. Like my own friends telling me, don't talk to them, and they're arguing over donor money. And these are these influencers that you guys watch and they're like, Anomaly, like, I'm like, why are you mad at them? These are two influencers. Why are you mad at them? Oh, well, he's taking my donor money. Well, she's taking my donor money. Like, even influencers are fighting each other over donor money. I don't get donor money. I don't get invited to donor money. I don't give a shit. If someone wants to sign up to my Patreon or send me money, I appreciate it, but I'm not like slob-knobbing around these Republican events, like seeing who I could suck off to, pass speech laws against our Constitution and get like famous at a CPAC stage. Sorry, I'm just telling you the truth. This is what politics is, guys. Politics is politics. When something stupid happens at your company, what do you call it? Politics. Oh, that's just politics. What do you think happens in politics? I'm sorry Trump brainwashed people into thinking that politics doesn't happen in the Republic. It's politics. They're fighting over donor money. DeSantis and Trump are fighting over donor money. Your favorite influencers are fighting over donor money. Okay, I've seen it happen on both sides. Oh, but no, he thinks he's a neo. They're both probably, it's a big game. I don't care. Like, I'm not threatened by this. And like, what? Well, Anomaly, don't talk to them because they're stealing my donor money. You think I give, no offense, you think I give a shit that you're taking her donor? Is it my money? I'm not getting the money, so why do you fight with them over the donor money? Like, he's taking my donor money. She's taking my donor money. Anomaly, they're taking my I don't care. I don't even know what it's like to go to these meetings and take donor money. What does that even look like? Like, what do you have to do to get the money? Probably worship Israel and pass speech laws against your Constitution and say that everything's anti-Semitic. I don't know. Maybe, I have no idea what else they're lobbying people to do, but it's certainly happening. I don't pay it. To me, the reason they got so mad at Kanye is not because every Jewish person's bad, or it's like, that's not the truth. There's millions of amazing Jewish people that have nothing to do with Rothschilds or big donor money. It's not every Jewish person's fault, but the reason they got so mad at Kanye was because he tapped into something that is revealing. It's not to say that he said it perfectly. It's not to say that it wasn't offensive, but he tapped into the hidden secret. The hidden secret is you're allowed to say white people are doing all this stuff because white people don't have that much systemic power, just generic white Europeans. They don't have that much power. That's why you're allowed to crap on them. When it comes to black America, black people are allowed to be activists as long as they're not talking about Jewish people. You could talk about everyone but them, but then when you do that, they'll cancel you. Why? Is it because there's no power there? That's why you can say what you want, but just like he was talking about in the music industry, it's the same thing in politics. All the big donor money is Jewish on the left wing and the right wing. It's just a fact. I don't know what else to say. And a lot of the big Jewish donors, they want Jewish things done with their money. That's just a fact. I have Jewish friends that wouldn't do that with their money. I mean, I have them that don't do that with their money, but that doesn't mean that doesn't happen. It does happen. There are Jewish donors that pay hundreds of millions of dollars and tell you to pass speech laws and do things for Israel. And then the law that they're passing says you can't say that they're doing that. It's like a loyalty law. Like, I'm going to do this and then pass a speech law so you can't say that I'm doing this. That's what's happening. It's a fact. They're all your favorite influencers are afraid to say what I'm saying. That's why I'm free. I'm not bragging, but I'm a free man. They know what I'm saying is true. They're just afraid to say it because they have donor meetings, because they get invited to Mar-a-Lago. I cruise with my family. I get free cruises because I like to play the slots sometimes. So they just give me free cruises hoping I lose money. But guess what? I didn't lose money. I won money this time. That's called success. And I didn't pay for my cruise. So I don't need their money. I have enough friends and I have enough people who like me. It's not high school. I don't need a cool kids table to sit at. I got my own friends. I got my own friends that are athletes and celebrities they're not politicians and I have normal friends. Like, I don't need it. But when you play that game, you need it. You get what I'm saying? If you need a big company to back you in order to get what you need done, then you can't piss off that company. You know, if you work for Prager or Daily Wire, it's a fine line you're walking. I mean, they're a little more lenient than left-wingers, but there's certain lines you're really not supposed to cross, and it's not worth it. Just like any company, I guess. You know, everyone's got rules and policies, and at the end of the day, I do get it, because if I ran a company that was a media company, of course I would let people have free speech, but you do want people who work for you to align with you. And if they don't align with you, you might not want them for your brand. So I'm not even knocking things like the Daily Wire. I'm not saying it happened because Candace still works there and it's probably going to be fine. But say Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring, decided that they were going to part ways with other people. On one hand, I would say that's whack. But on another hand, I would be like, I get it, because at the end of the day, say Daily Wire has a brand, that's their brand. It's not my brand. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to like it. I could like Candace more than I like Ben, which I do. But in general, I support their right as a company to push their brand, because if I ran mine, I wouldn't want someone that I wouldn't let Shep Smith work for my brand. It doesn't mean I don't support free speech. I wouldn't want to work with Don Lemon or Chris Cuomo. Not because I don't support free speech, but I don't think their brand aligns with my brand, and they're embarrassing to me. So I wouldn't, I get it. I'm a fair person. I'm not a hateful person. I just don't like being yelled at by grown women on Facebook. Someone said, we need to stop waiting for people to be fair. There is no fair. That's true, Junior. I agree with you. Here's what I will say, though. America, despite our flaws, someone said, why all the hate for Ben? I literally just pretty much defended him if he ever cut ties with somebody. But yeah, I'm so hateful, even though I literally just defended his right as a company. But anyway, even with all the corruption in America, all this nonsense, all this political whatever, it's still a great place. I mean, when you travel the country, Mexico has some great spots, but, a lot of people in Mexico, there's a reason they're trying to come to America. There's a lot of money and opportunity here. The Philippines, most of the world. I don't have to go through Africa, South America. You get it. You know what I'm saying? Even Europe in some cases. People want to come to America because despite all our corruption and even with rising crime and stuff, there's still a lot of opportunity here. So while you're in America, one of the ugliest things you could do is be ungrateful. Ungratefulness is ugly. You know what I'm saying? If you were born here, you were born with a chance. If you immigrated here, even if you came illegally, I'm not Border Patrol. It's not my job. You know, you're in a certain spot that a lot of people wish they could be. So even with all our problems, we all have to tap into our American, you know, I would say privilege in a certain sense, because there's not money. I mean, you could work your ass off in certain areas of the Philippines, and unless you're at some sort of company, you're not getting the money that you can get here. You're not having the opportunities. You're not able to, you know, get as much for your dollar. So, you know, I think we all have to tap into that and definitely make the most of it regardless of what's happening. Even with Biden. I mean, Biden sucks. But at the end of the day, it's like, I just hope he doesn't keep destroying the stock market. Like, just, you know, every time the stock market goes up, slow Biden has to say something stupid. He's like, let's print more money. It's like, dude, shut up. Shut up, Joe. It's just like, it feels like it's almost calculated. Like, things are going up. It's like, oh, what do you know? We got a war with Ukraine and this random guy that we have to give money to. Zelensky's like, oh, Snake Island, Ghost of Kiev. There's an anonymous rocket ship floating in the air shooting Russian things out of the sky. I think this one anonymous pilot killed like 50 Russians. Whatever, give me $50 billion. And like, oh, what are you, a Russian? If you don't want to give... No, I don't want to give Zelensky any more money. I'm not Russian. But there's nothing wrong with Russian people, you know? It's like, if I was Russian, I would be like, damn, this sucks. You know, everybody's like, F yeah. Like, it's not the best time to be Russian right now. It's like being Muslim after 9/11. It's not, doesn't mean it's bad. It's just like the perception of you in America is not great. You know, it's not ideal. I don't even remember what I was talking about, but, oh yeah, Joe Biden. It's like every time things are going good, something crazy's got to happen. It's like, just stop, dude. $50 billion to this guy? Like, just stop, bro. Just stop giving money. Stop printing money. Stop letting AOC talk. Why does she wear the glasses with the bug eyes? Like, is that like a marketing tactic, or is that like maybe she just has bad eyesight? But I feel like sometimes she wears those. Has anybody ever seen that show with bubbles in it? What's the name of it? It's like a Canadian comedy show. I forget the name of it, but the guy's got those super huge glasses. Name is Bubbles. Like, she wears those eyeglasses and her eyes bug out even harder. I'm like, why does she do that? Let me see what the show's called. Hold on. Bubbles character show. What's the name? Trailer Park Boys. That's what it's called. Yeah. If you ever seen Trailer Park Boys, they got this one guy named Bubbles, and he wears those big eyes. He's like, hey guys. It's like she started wearing those glasses recently. I'm like, what? It just makes her more annoying. She's like, hey, print the money. And you're like, yo, stop, lady. You're so annoying. Yeah. All right, you guys got it. Trailer Park Boys. Ding, ding, ding. She wears the glasses to look smarter, but it's like magnifying glasses. It just makes her eyes look bigger. All right, we'll read a few more, and then someone said Fuentes and Kanye is happening. I mean, that would be pretty epic. I saw that Kanye was hanging out with Milo Yiannopoulos at Beverly Hills Hotel, like it was in the news. Dude, Kanye's on a level right now. He doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty epic. Like, I love seeing free Kanye just do anything. These crossovers have just been like phenomenal. What's my zodiac sign? I'm a Libra. Someone said she eats chicken McNuggets live, though. Is that supposed to make me like her or something? Like, she's just like, I'm working class. I eat chicken nuggets. You're like, why would you eat chicken nuggets on a live stream, though? That's just kind of weird. So San Francisco passing bills to destroy nuclear Christian families. If you're a nuclear Christian family in San Francisco, I mean, maybe that bill is a sign to get out of San Francisco. I can't imagine being a nuclear Christian family in that city. I mean, at a certain point, the country is going to split apart, and I think I have friends in LA and San Francisco that I like, but LA's bringing back mask mandates. Like, I would be fine if they locked down LA. And I feel bad saying that because I have friends there that obviously wouldn't like that, but they vote that way. They had a chance to vote for Rick Caruso, who would have slowed up crime a little bit. They voted for very left-wing Karen Bass. Lock the city down. I don't care. Lock down San Francisco. Like, you vote for that. Like, I'm okay with that at this point. That's, I don't live in a liberal area. All of our mayor and our city council, they're all Republican, because that's what people here vote for. If you vote for liberals, I don't know what to tell you at this point. Like, lock the whole city down. I don't want to be locked down. Well, stop voting for the people who lock you down harder then. That was on the ballot. You could tell me all you want. It doesn't matter. Yeah, to some extent, both parties are sneaky and sold out. But if you look at all the Democrat governors, they all locked down longer. If you look at most Democrat governors in cities, they held the mask mandates longer. That was on the ballot. That's a big issue. It's like taxes. Nobody's going to, maybe libertarians if they could ever win a race, but nobody's taking away your taxes. Republicans will tax you 30%. Democrats will tax you 33%. No one's taking it all away. It's just like a lesser of two evils. Like, do I want to pay this or that or what? It's the same with the mask mandates and lockdowns. It's like very few Republicans didn't lock down at all. But a lot of them got out of it quicker. So if you vote Democrat and you're like, I don't care about, I know people that are against mask mandates, against lockdowns, but they still vote Democrat. Lock the city down. I don't care. Lock them down. Lock them down for the winter. I'm fine with that. Let them lose tourist money. Let them lose business. You get what you vote for. Although I do live in a state that keeps voting Democrat, it's very embarrassing. It's just but locally, not the case. Someone said, Rachel said, this is a good one. Rachel said, really hoping you speak with Rudy Israel on the subject of Israel and speech laws. I would love to talk to him. We were working on it before I went to vacation, but I'll reach out to him again. Hopefully we could live stream. He wanted to do it in person, but he was in LA. I'm not going to LA. So Rudy Israel is an Israeli influencer. Seems like a super nice guy. We disagree on a few things, but here's the thing. I would love to talk to Rudy Israel, and I'll try to make it happen still because he seems like a super nice Israeli guy. This is the thing that people don't realize with me and Israel. I'm American. I'm not Israeli. I don't have dual citizenship. I don't float between the two countries. So this is my country. I'm not mad at Israel for doing things that benefit Israel. I'm annoyed at my country for doing things at a detriment to our country and going against our Constitution, which is really all that we have. That's what I'm annoyed at. It's not Israel's fault. People are like, oh, what? It's not it. Like, if Israel has a law that says that you can't have dual citizenship in their government, which is true. If you serve in Israel, you can't have two passports. You can in America. That's not Israel's fault. That's America's fault. So I got no beef with Rudy or any Israelis. It's like, this is my country's problem. It's not Israel's job to babysit us. We got to fix ourselves. But I'll talk to him because, he had a take on Kanye. It seemed nice. I slightly disagree with it, but it's okay. Here's the thing with that conversation, and I'm willing to have it, and I hope it happens. It's like with Lex Fridman. Lex Fridman blocked me on Twitter because I said to Lex Fridman, I like Lex Fridman. I think he's a nice guy. I like his energy. To be honest, he's a little slow. You know what I'm saying? He kind of is like a little boring, but that's okay. But he's a nice guy. Lex blocked me because, and it's fine. I don't care about being blocked. I just said, I think you're being a little hypocritical because you're telling Kanye West you're only allowed to name individuals and never talk about the group, but he always talks about the group to defend themselves. So you have to understand a lot of people will not agree with my take because my take is, as an American, a lot of people don't believe in free speech. If you live in Israel, you might not believe in free speech. Maybe you do. I bet a lot of Israelis do, but some of them don't. So it's like, there's countries where they don't, the First Amendment in America is very unique. The Constitution is very unique. The Second Amendment is very unique. The separation of powers in the way that it was supposed to be, it's all amazing. I didn't appreciate it when I was younger, but as I get older, the Founding Fathers, they might have been sneaky Freemasons, but it's pretty solid as far as government structures go, and nothing in this world is guaranteed. So the fact that they even gave you these rights in the first place, got to be a little grateful. With that being said, I personally, and I'm writing a whole book about it. It's very close to finished. I apologize for it taking forever, but I believe at this point in my life, I didn't always believe this, but the words racist, sexist, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, climate denier, conspiracy theorist, these words are all words that don't mean anything because they basically mean that's hate speech. And if you have hate speech, there's no free speech, because what is hate speech? Hate speech is subjective. Big Pharma hates criticism. Trump hates people that take his donors. Biden hates staying awake and using real words. Everyone hates something. So, we have to be very clear, or else that gets taken advantage of. And if the last 3 years taught you anything in the Republican and Democratic Party, is the things that they pass speech laws for are usually not for you. So long story short, I'm willing to talk to Rudy. I would love to, but he uses the word anti-Semitic all the time. He's an Israeli, he's Jewish, and he thinks that things are anti-Semitic. To me, that word is overused, and it basically just means we only want to be recognized as a group when we're the victim, and you have to feel bad for us. But if you ever point out the group that we know exists because we talk about it all the time, and you say anything that isn't great, then we're going to call you an anti-Semite. So, I'm willing to have a convo with anybody, but the fundamental disagreement is going to be, I think you use the word anti-Semitic too much, and people like Lex Friedman cry and say, no, I don't. It's true. You remind me of Hitler. Like that's always like the go back to argument. It's like, I don't want to leave that word behind because it's my baby binky. I mean, telling the Jewish community not to use the word anti-Semitic, they're going to call you, not everybody, but they're going to be like, oh my gosh, how could I live without that word? I don't know. Maybe you could live a week in my shoes. I don't have a word to use. So, I mean, you could ask me how it works, because my whole life, there's no word for anti-white. There's no word for anti-Christian. There's no word for anti-male. And I don't want a word, and I don't need a word, and it's fine. It just means you have to be an adult and handle situations like everyone else. But, everybody wants their little special victim card. And as a man who is mostly from the mountains of Caucasus, a lot of the Black Hebrew Israelites would say, I'm from the mountains of Caucasus, or what, I don't know, whatever. But I'm just joking. As a mostly white man, it's been rather amusing, in my opinion, watching Black celebrities and Jewish celebrities battle over the victim card, because anybody that's from a group that doesn't have one, it's just kind of, I'm not saying I'm like laughing, because I'm not laughing at people fighting, but it is kind of funny where it's like Black people are like, this is my victim card. And then Jewish people are like, this is my victim card. And then Black people are like, but this is my victim card. I thought we could do what we wanted. And then Jewish people are like, no, you can do what you want as long as you don't talk about us. And they're like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I want to keep my show on Viacom. So it's been a funny couple weeks for me, because I'm like, to me, it's like the Black victim card and the Jewish victim card is battling. And no offense, but the Black Americans are being put in their place. And it's like, no, you're always, you can do what you want, but you can't talk about Jewish people. So, it's showing Black Americans that their victim card is not quite as strong as the Jewish victim card. That's like the dynamic going on. For me, it's like, it's like a boxing match where it's like you see the both sides fighting. You're like, oh, what? Hey, it's not my fault for once. I'm going to just sit out on the sidelines and, I guess I am getting in trouble, because now I have like Jewish Lives Matter calling me an anti-Semite. I think quite a few people have called me an anti-Semite over the last 3 weeks. So somehow I did get in trouble. But to me, that's what's going on. It's like two battling victim cards. I can't speak for every country, but in America, if we really want to be equal and have free speech, we can't have all these victim cards. This is the great melting pot. We have Jews, we have Muslims, we have Christians, we have Black, white, Asian. At this point, whether people like it or not, this country is already very diversified. So if we want to live somewhat decently and not live in a third world country like it's moving to, we all have to come to the conclusion, like, do we all want free speech, or only some of us get free speech? Do we all want to be treated as Americans, or do we all want our little special victim card? Are we individuals, or are we groups? And when it comes to the thing, it's like, when Black and Jewish victim cards battle, they both don't want equality. It's just the truth. And I'm not saying every Black and Jewish person feels this way, because it's not true. I'm just saying in the media, those two groups going at each other, they both don't want equality. If you treat a Jewish or a Black person like everyone else gets treated and they don't have their victim shield, they're going to call you a racist and an anti-Semite. It's like their baby binky that they need in this world. So white Americans or conservative Americans or Christian Americans, you already know what time it is. It's like you're on a, people don't want to be, the people that say they want equal treatment do not want to be treated equally. So I don't think this country works unless everybody gets over these victim humps and says, hey, we need to talk in the present moment, all get on a somewhat same page, and then move on with our lives. We can't play this game forever or else it's not going to work. But I don't think people are going to listen to me, so I guess I just don't really care. I don't feel like I'm a victim because I don't have a victim card. That's how a lot of people feel too. Well, I'm a man and people are treated. Well, man up then. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like, well, I'm a man and society hates men. Who cares? That hasn't stopped me. It's sad that they bully younger men and stuff. I don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, like someone said earlier, I think it was our friend Junior, life is not fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't start where everyone else started. I started above some people. I started below a lot of people. Like, life is not, we all were born the way we were born, and that's what you got. These are the cards that you were dealt. Either you're going to make the most or not. There's been people from the street who have made more money than me, and there's been people born into $1 billion who have ended up overdosing on drugs. So you can't always compare to the other person. So if you're white and these people have victim cards, you don't want to envy their victim card. There's nothing to envy there. You know what I'm saying? If they're this race and you're this race, I think envy and jealousy and hatred, it's all from the same ilk. You got to hone in on yourself, So I think a lot of people that don't have a victim card, then they play the victim and act like they want a victim card. Like, I'm going to make jokes about it. You can call me names, but someone said, did I ever listen to Aaron Carter? I've actually met Aaron Carter before and hung out with him a couple years ago. My friend is a songwriter, and he wrote songs for Aaron Carter. So I've met Aaron. He was nice to me, but I'm not like best friends with him or anything. I'm not going to really speak on his death. I haven't looked at it that much. They said it was like a drug overdose, and I don't want to get into like certain things I know because I don't think it's very respectful. I want to be respectful and check out stuff, but I wanted to say this real quick too. On the note that I was talking about with the victim card, when I talk about 2020, this is something I just want to quickly address. I've mentioned it, but I want to make it very clear on video because when I type it, people just misconstrue it. If I say anything about 2020, people, like, I'll talk about Operation Warp Speed and the lockdowns, whatever. People are like, oh, Anomaly's covering up election fraud. Oh, he's outed himself. He's exposed himself. Like, they're like the ladies that are unhinged trying to call me a traitor. And here's what I want to say about election meddling and all of this stuff. I want to make it clear. I personally believe that it happens. I personally believe that mass mail-in ballots are a bad idea. But here's the difference between me and the movement that's being led by Trump is I don't think he's an innocent victim in this game. I think the mass mail-in ballots came because of the lockdowns. And when it comes to the lockdowns, Trump does not have the best track record. Sweden kept open. He didn't. Bolsonaro did a better job. He didn't. Georgia's Governor Kemp did a better job of opening. He didn't. Even Ron DeSantis, he bashed him over the lockdowns. Even he turned it around quicker. Kristi Noem turned it around. Trump was quarterbacking the lockdowns for months, and he was saying that Republicans should stay locked down. So my point is, if you're mad at mass mail-in ballots, Trump is not a victim. I'm tired of this like whole victim MAGA culture. They tell black people, don't play the victim, black people. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And then they cry victim over the 2020 election. Even if you believe that something happened there, like a lot of people do, you have to take accountability. Did the lockdown not play into it? Did Donald Trump do a great job to get out of it? He didn't. So it's like Donald Trump is a big baby and he's raising a bunch of victims who just cry victim. It's like Tom Brady throwing 5 interceptions and then saying, oh, I didn't do anything. It was the other team. It's like, no, he's the quarterback. He blew it a little bit. It's not all his fault, but if Donald Trump stood up there and said, hey, the elections aren't fair. We have to get rid of mass mail-in ballots. But I personally take responsibility because I did this for too long. And in hindsight, like DeSantis said, I shouldn't have done that. If Trump said that, I shouldn't have done that. I should have opened up earlier. That was a slight mistake, but still this is wrong. I would be like, okay, I can get behind this guy's leadership. But he's not a leader. He's a professional victim. All he does is brainwash people into running in circles around him and doing nothing. And when it comes to election fraud, you don't want to be the boy who cried wolf. You want to be really strategic with it because when you're really strategic, everybody's listening. listening, we all know that something fishy is going on, and we all know that mass mail-in ballots is a good idea, and we all know that what happened in Maricopa County is a joke, and we all know that when machines don't work, there's something screwed up, and that's very messed up, and when people can't vote where they're supposed to vote, that's all bad. It's obvious. That's voter suppression to the highest extent. With that being said, we want to be laser focused when we talk about election fraud. We want to be laser focused in Arizona. Laser focused. So when you speak the truth. If you're the boy who cried wolf and you just say everything and everything all the time, nobody's going to believe you anymore. And you're just becoming a goofball. So to me, people act like I don't believe in it because I don't act like them. I don't act like you because I don't think you're actually fixing the election. I think you're blowing it. You're like the people who call everything racist, and then when something actually happens like race-based, nobody believes you anymore. And you call everything anti-Semitic, and then when a Jewish person's in need, people stop caring because you overuse that word. I don't overuse the word because I hate this or I don't believe in this. I don't want to blaspheme this word to the point where it doesn't mean anything. So then when it needs to be used or if there's something going on, no one believes in it. So that's my take on the election. I think it's a joke, but I just don't think that the Trump movement is like innocent on it. I think he has a lot of responsibility for the ushering in of the new normal. And what people don't really understand, because they're so like culty about it, is if you look at the CARES Act, which Trump passed, all this COVID world redistribution of you get this for a ventilator, you get this was all baked into stuff that Trump signed. So he signed over the country. He signed over all this communist stuff. He even gave CDC communist power to strong-arm landlords. So, I mean, that's like textbook communism. If you're talking about lack of private, you can't even run your business and you can't even have private property. I mean, it's a little rough around like the actual definition, but when you give the federal government this agency that, the CDC, although they do a lot, they don't really have that much like federal power. It's more just like people listen to them and they do guidance, which is bad enough. But in general, Trump gave the CDC executive power to strong-arm landlords. He's not innocent in any part of the lockdown, in any part of the mass mail-in ballots. So the people that run circles around the vaccine salesman crying victim, it's pathetic. And they always use the word racist. I think that the word doesn't mean anything anymore. But it's like, how are you going to tell black people to not play the victim, and then you're constantly playing the victim? The election was so... It's like, did your team have any part in it, With the Kari Lake thing, too, I mean, it's not her fault, but Who runs Arizona right now? Aren't Republicans involved? Who's the governor of Arizona? Is it Doug Ducey? Let me look it up. Let me see. Governor of Arizona. Who's running Arizona right now? Doug Ducey, a Republican. Why didn't Doug Ducey do what Ron DeSantis did? How did Arizona, a state with a Republican governor, allow an election to take 5 days? It's not California. I mean, California's a joke. Someone said Anomaly's a shill. Call me a shill for saying that a Republican governor should have passed laws like Ron DeSantis to make the election more fair. Why did Florida vote within 24 hours, but it took 4 days? Guys, Democrats don't run Arizona. Someone said Ducey's a... I'm just saying this is taking accountability. I'm not saying what happened in Arizona was good. Doesn't make me... He is useless. He's a... it's like... To me, that's more like I don't want to just complain about a problem forever. I want to solve the problem. And if I can't solve it, I'm not going to complain about it forever. I'm like, how did this come to be? How do we solve it? I'm not just running in circles like, the election was stolen. Trump's a victim. Like it's getting cringe. And then people are saying it's a number one issue. Maybe for you, but if you want to win an election, there's other issues on people's minds besides in your base. I'm just being honest. I gotta see the Dave Chappelle thing. I heard he gave him like a fake script and said something kind of cool, but I don't know. I'll watch it later and figure it out. Someone said you aren't a shill for that, but you might be for not calling out like the Zog. What is that, like Zionist? I don't know what that stands for. I talk about that stuff all the time, but it's like people that are into like calling out Zionism, this is just my advice to you. You don't have to do it. If you're critical of Zionism, I'm not going to call you an anti-Semite. I understand there's a difference between hating Jewish people and being critical of the government of Israel and their position with America. I talk about that stuff all the time, perhaps too much for some people's taste. But this is my criticism to you, no offense. Not you personally, but the people who are critical of Zionism, you guys like spiral like liberals to the point where if I talk about it in like 3 videos out of 10, you freak out at me and you're like, I've literally already talked about it earlier this live stream in different phrasing. Is that not enough? Does that have to be my whole life? Do I have to make my whole life about it every video? So it's like your attitude is very turn-offish. It's like, you guys are always just like trying to talk about it again, talk about it all the time. If you don't talk about it, you're a shill. Call me what you want. I'm not, but it's like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? You can make your own YouTube channel. You could cover it. So it's like I talk about it probably too much for some people's liking. Yeah, it's not enough for you. You say it too much. I'm not you. Someone said, why are you so sensitive? It's a live show. People like the fact that I respond to questions. I wouldn't say I'm that sensitive, but whatever. Someone said trolls are mad. What exactly is a Zionist? Well, the problem is people like, I'll try to break it down in 3 minutes and be as fair as I can. People like Pompeo try to say, if you're anti-Zionist, you're anti-Semitic. So they try to be like, if you're critical of Zionism at all, you're anti-Semitic. This is the same, in my opinion, the same logic as being like, if you criticize George Soros, you're an anti-Semite. If you say something about Bloomberg, you're anti-Semitic. It's been overblown, but Zionism, I believe, was created by Theodor Herzl, who had the idea to take Israel before Jews were there. You know what I'm saying? In the 1900s, 1800s, Israel wasn't Israel. At the time, it was, Palestine before the 1940s. After World War II, they used World War II as justification. Well, we need to go take Israel because, that all happened and we need to go there. But long story short, originally, Zionism was the movement to turn Palestine into Israel and give it to the Jewish people and make that the homeland of the Jews. So that's like the original definition of Zionism was the Jews taking back that land or taking that land, whatever side of the debate you're on. But now people need to understand that Zionism has grown because, in my opinion, I wouldn't just say you're anti-Semitic if you criticize Zionism, because it's not like if I criticize Italy, do I hate Italians? Well, that's the only place Italians are. I mean, there's Jews all over the world, but yeah, Israel's the land of the Jews, just like Italy is the land of Italians. If I don't like Italy or France or England, it doesn't mean I hate English people. So you have a bunch of Zionists trying to say that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, which is not necessarily true, because when it comes to Israel, it is what it is. They have a government. And my personal problem with Zionism is I'm an American citizen. I'm not an Israeli. I'm not a Palestinian. I don't have loyalty to Russia or Italy. I have loyalty to America. It's all I know. It's where I'm from. I don't really have anywhere else to go. I guess I could try to flee to Poland or Italy or something, but I don't want to. I'm an American. Long story short, the Zionist lobbying groups in the Democrat and Republican Party, they are passing speech laws that go against the Constitution, and they're constantly doing things that, in my opinion, destroy America for the benefit of Israel and the Jewish people, but then they say that they're not doing it and that it's anti-Semitic to talk about. So it's a very complex issue. A lot of normies or liars would just simplify it and be like, oh, if you're critical of that, you must just hate all the Jewish people and want them to die. It's not true. It's like it's very complex because it's now leaked into America and it's now leaked into the Republican Party. And in my opinion, I've said this a bunch, but the Republican Party, they prioritize Zionism over Americanism. They will literally go against the First Amendment and their entire ideology for their Jewish donors. That's just what they're doing. They're not doing it because they thought of it themselves, and they're not doing it because they're Christian, and they're not doing it because they love Israel. They're doing it because they're paid to do it. You pay these people $100 million to pass a speech law for Saudi Arabia. I bet you they do that too. The money talks, guys. I don't know why people think politicians are your friends. They're not, guys. They're not your friends, okay? People even these influencers, if these influencers start dabbling in politics, guys, they're following the money. They're tap dancing in these little meetings and stuff to do what they can. So it's just how it works. So long story short, Zionism means 50,000 things to 50 different people, but it involves the country of Israel, the movement to defend it, But also, the Israeli government does other things besides that. I mean, the Israeli government locked down their own people and turned into a little Pfizer experiment. If I disagree with that, does that make me an anti-Semite? There's a speech law being passed by DeSantis, Trump, and the State Department saying that if you compare the government of Israel to Nazi Germany, that's anti-Semitism. This is one of the laws. You're not allowed to compare Israel to Nazis. That's literally one of the speech laws. And do you know what's funny? I follow this guy, great guy, who happens to be Jewish on Twitter, Mark Lobener. He's a bodybuilder, an honest man. I believe he's a great American patriot. He's Jewish, but he prioritizes the First Amendment over anything else. He's a great American. He was calling Israel Nazis even though he's a Jew because he didn't like what they were doing with the vaccine. That would be illegal under the guise of these speech laws. So that's why it's so important. You would take free speech away from even Jews in America because there's thousands of Jews who would consider that, they want, everybody calls everything Nazis anymore. I don't think it's like right to, smear somebody against their, but with freedom of speech, you do have the right to compare Israel to whatever regime you want if they're locking down their country and turning into a Pfizer experiment. That's up to you. If you want to say that reminds you of communist Russia, you could say that, but you get what I'm saying? That's part of the Zionist speech laws that they're passing. So it's not just like if you disagree with it, you hate Israel or you hate Jews. That's what Pompeo, even DeSantis and Trump will try to convince people to do, but that's not what's happening. They're taking a lot of politics and even the wars in the Middle East, like what, at a certain point, we need to have an honest conversation about it all, but that's all. Let's see. Someone said my favorite uncle is Jewish, a great family man. Yeah, there's a lot of great Jewish people. I'm not going to pander and be like, I love Adam Sandler movies. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of great people of all types. It's just like, we got to stop playing this game. If you talk about that, you must hate everybody. I'm sure if I went to Israel, I'd have a blast. I've heard it's great. I've heard it's fun. You know what I'm saying? I've heard the people are very welcoming. It's not a personal attack or anything. It's just geopolitics and laws and lobbyists, That's just how it works. And people got to get over thinking, even influencers, you got to understand a lot of people are doing the same things politicians do. They're doing politics with media. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's playing some sort of a game. Not everybody's not sold out. Some people are more honest than others, but this is just my perspective, whether it's me, whether it's Candace, whether it's Trump, whether it's your favorite influencer, like I said, including myself. Judge people by what they're doing and what they're saying, and if they're doing things that you agree with and saying things that you agree with and they seem ethical, then that's great. Show them love. But if you see people doing things that seem weird to you, feel free to have a conversation about it. Like, your job is not to worship anybody, any influencer, any politician, especially when they start dabbling into politics. Like, if I start making some crazy journalistic mistakes and I start selling vaccines, it's not your job to say, oh, well, Anomaly's funny, he wears a cowboy hat and he makes me laugh, but I think he's lying. Feel free to say it. It's like, I'm here to serve the people. I'm here to give fair analysis. I'm here to do good reporting. I'm here to make people laugh. I have an opinion. I'm not always going to agree with you, but if I seem dishonest or immoral and something seems really wrong, talk about it. It's not like, it's politics. People say, I don't want to run for office. I don't really like politics. I like talking. I like trying to figure out solutions to what's going on in this world, but there's a lot of politicians in politics. They're not your best friends. Like, people fall for like the rhetoric of like, I'm going to save America. And then they go to a donor. It's like, it's all good. Just don't just put your head down and be like, I can't question these people. Some people will only, I would say, concede when they're confronted with certain things that they're doing. It's like, there's a huge game being played. And I think, there's a few games being played, but I personally loved the Kyrie and Kanye situation, not because I hate people, but I think Kanye and Kyrie exposed something that a lot of people weren't aware of, and now they're aware of. It's not to blame all people. It's not to group everybody in, but there is something going on. And I mean, what's there to really say that hasn't been said over the last few weeks? So I enjoyed that couple weeks because you really saw a lot of who's who. You know, Prager said something, Ben Shapiro said something, the NBA said something, the ADL said something. Like it's like it was in my opinion, a great moment in recent history. Not because everything was said was true, and not because I agree with the documentary. I didn't even watch the documentary. I don't care who thinks they're a Jew. It personally, in my opinion, I'm not the Jewish gatekeeper. I'm the Jew. You're the Jew. If you're a Jew, you're a Jew. If you're lying, you're lying. You know, only God knows and someone else might know. But me personally, I don't care if Kyrie Irving says he's Rachel Dolezal. To me, it's not going to affect my life, you know. You know, Kyrie Irving could come back painted yellow and say, I think I'm Native American now. I'm from China. And I'd be like, if that's who you want to be, it's kind of just like, I don't know. As far as like the Black Hebrew Israelite stuff, you know, I do have to say the ones that stand on the street are a little annoying. You know, it's not the fact that they say they're Black Jews. It's just they're always yelling all the time. You know, I get it. But for me, like, I'm not into just like aggressive street yelling. I'm into activism. It's just like, don't, you know, if you want to sell me on your idea, don't be like yelling at me all the time about white boy, we the Jews. I'm like, okay, I'm not saying. You ever seen them? They used to come to Hollywood sometimes when I lived in Hollywood, and they'd be like yelling all the time. It's just a little like extra. I don't mind this. They had staffs and stuff. The staffs were cool. You know, you dress up like a wizard, I'm listening. You know what I'm saying? Like, just treat me a little nicer, and I might agree with you. But you start screaming at me, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, whatever. They get the free speech to do it, but they're a little annoying. Someone said we want to talk Hebrew Israelites. Not really, but let's see. Someone said, I hate to say it, but Hollywood is important. China didn't invest in one of the largest theaters for nothing. They want control of what's on the screen. For sure. And that's what I'm interested in. If people say, I like Trump more than DeSantis, at this, I don't care. But I'm going to still speak the truth about what Trump did with Operation Warp Speed. I'm not going to stop. I don't care who says what to me. But in general, I'm focused on that type of stuff. The screen does control people. The TV screen, the movie screen, the phone screen, the algorithms, but a lot of it, we can't play the victim. We can't say, oh, well, China's, and I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm just saying we can say, well, China's doing this. Oh, well, the liberals are doing this. We're underachieving. You know what I'm saying? I use Matt Walsh as an example, and I hate to overplay it, but like I thought that documentary, and I didn't even see the whole thing, but I've seen it, the impact it had was huge. He's only one person. You know what I'm saying? He just found, why did that documentary do so well psychologically? Yes, it's about gender stuff that everybody cares about. It's a controversial issue, but it was his approach. He didn't do it aggressively. He basically gave them enough rope to expose themselves. We all could do something to contribute to culture and convince people. You know, that's the game we have to play, not fighting over Trump and DeSantis. I'm not going to spend 3 years defending myself over why I slightly prefer DeSantis over Trump, albeit I don't really care that much about either of them on like a personal level. I'm not going to defend myself of why I'd vote for Rand Paul over both of them forever. I want to focus on how to shift the culture, how to actually convince people on the other side. And it's easier, I would say, marketing wise, you make more money playing to your niche market. That's why a lot of conservative influencers do that, because there's more money to be made. If you're selling a product, who's going to buy your stuff? It's going to be conservatives. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Sell stuff. I don't care. Make money. Why wouldn't you? But a lot of people they're not trying to make an impact. Some are. You know, some of these Instagram pages I follow do a great job. They do a great job of getting both sides. They do a great job of just providing information. They're news aggregates. You know, a lot of the right-wing influencers I follow do a good job. And then there's others who don't, in my opinion, do a good job. And they're just capitalizing off of their niche market and making as much money as they possibly can with no concern of shifting culture and no concern of getting more people on our side. Don't have to pander, but we do have to figure out a way to get this argument across. We have to. The youth is not on our side. I don't care who says that the Gen Z is more conservative. No, they're not. They're way gayer. They're more feminized. They're softer. they're weaker and they're more liberal. And I'm not making fun of them. I'm just saying, like, they're not more conservative. Maybe some of the kids are, but most of them are for sure more Democrat. And not many people are trying to reach out to them and tell them why what they're doing is wrong. It's more just like making fun of them. We can't be 30-year-old men making fun of college students. That's not a sustainable business model. Someone said boomer anomaly. I'm a little boomery. I'm a millennial, but in general, I think that like we have to figure out a better way to get our message across. It's not working right now. And here's the thing with Trump. Trump has maxed out what he can do culturally, in my opinion. He's not picking up 18-year-olds. He's not even trying. So like the more people just deride Trump, their little group of like, you know, let's have fun in our MAGA world, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. You know, you're even isolating a lot of people who like you and want to vote with you just off your attitude. So have fun, you know, go to a rally, vote for who you want, but that's not going to win America. That's not going to make America great again. You can't just ride Trump's coattails for the next 10 years. He's not getting a bunch of 19-year-old liberals to be conservative. He's just not. In fact, he's probably, and I'm not saying everything he does is wrong. It's just like we need some people to go out on a limb and figure out a way. Comedy, music, movies, entertainment. We definitely need people like Kanye to come out with his influence and say the truth. And sometimes it's like a pendulum effect. Sometimes it takes one brave person to get 10 other celebrities to come out. Sometimes I've met people, I'm not going to say who or where, but I've met people that are like, yo, your video I saw and a few other people, and this made me do this, and they had a high level position to do. So that's the real shift, you know? I'm focused on that. I'm not going to argue. As tempting as it is, I'm not going to for too long. Someone said, I see more MAGA hats now than ever, and I'm in Seattle. The guy has tens of millions of supporters. There's no question. I guess the name of the game is, I don't know. I would love to just win an election by like 6 points or 7 points. I think DeSantis showed that it is possible. It's not easy, but I think it is. And I don't buy into this rhetoric that it wasn't. I think it was DeSantis. Personally, I'm not saying he's your best friend. I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong. He did a lot of common sense things for liberals, but it wasn't a big show. People don't know this who don't live in Florida, but DeSantis did a lot of environmental things. He's been good for the Florida environment and the swampland and etc. He's been crushing even environmentalism without making a big show about it. So I know progressives that like him in Florida and voted for him. I know Bernie progressives who voted for DeSantis in Florida because he was good on the environment. So there is a way to win back the country. You just can't stick to an old script. We can't run 2016 Trump in 2024. It's not the same year. It's a whole different world we're living in. COVID world. You know, more things have happened. Economy. It's not 2016. It's not to say he's bad. It's just like people got to get, there is a way. I think we could win an election by 10 points, you know, to the point where even if they cheated in a state or two, it wouldn't even matter. You know, even if it was rigged in certain states, there's a way to balance, to push the scales over so far it wouldn't even matter. It's not ideal, but to me, DeSantis can bring the party in that direction. That's just my opinion, but we'll see. Someone said Ronnie the Rat needs money. He's just an average income guy. He could be bought off. I mean, that's fine if you think that. I just don't think that Trump is this rich guy who won't take the money. He already took the money. He already took money from Pfizer. He already took money from Sheldon Adelson. He already took money from Bank of America. He needs the whole reason Trump's mad is because DeSantis is cutting into the Republican donor money. The donors like DeSantis now more than Trump. But it's not like they never liked Trump before. A lot of them already gave money to Trump. It's not like they never liked him. They see what a lot of other people see. They're like, all right, this guy's the new vehicle. You know, we'll dump money into him and he'll probably win the election more. They want to win. If a donor, obviously they want somebody they can control, but they've also dumped money into Trump. So they want someone who can win. It was obvious after 2016. I don't think it was obvious then, but after 2016, it was obvious that Trump was the guy. Nobody was even close to Trump. So all the donors were giving money to Trump from 2017 to 2022, 2021, because there's no one even close to Trump. Like if you are a Republican and you want to win an election, Trump's going to win it. I think in 2016, some donors figured it out and some didn't, But after 2016, all the doubters were wrong, and Trump was that dude for 4 years. The truth is, DeSantis is a better candidate than Trump, so he's getting the donor money. It's not like, he's even like these same donors are giving it to Trump. They're not just doing it because DeSantis is more corrupt. They just know DeSantis wins an election by 8 points. Trump is probably going to lose or cut it close. So he's a better vehicle at the moment for their, who wants to spend $100 million and lose an election? Nobody, and that's what Republicans will do. They're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars. They don't want a Trump election where he's probably going to lose or come close. They want someone who's going to win by 6-7 points. Someone said, I agree that Ducey should have fixed it. Here's the thing. I don't know exactly what like Fog City Midge was doing. To be honest, I don't live in Arizona and that wasn't my main issue. But she was saying for years, and I don't know what her thing was, but I know she was like, they didn't fix the election. They didn't fix the election. And everyone was telling her to shut up. And now the election happened and it's like, takes 5 days. We had a Republican governor, Here's another thing. I went to a Trump rally and Doug Ducey was on stage with Donald Trump. He's friends with Donald Trump. So it's like, if Trump's friends with Doug Ducey, why didn't he get Doug Ducey to do something about the election if he's the governor? How come DeSantis passed legislation to make the election fair, and Governor Kemp passed some legislation to make the election a little more fair, but Doug Ducey didn't? But he's on stage with Trump. Oh, but Kevin McCarthy's a rhino, but he's on stage with Trump. That's who was on stage with Trump at my rally. Rand Paul, Nigel Farage, who are both pretty cool. Doug Ducey, Kushner was there, and McCarthy was on stage. I want people to call out DeSantis, but I'm tired of people acting like, he's a neocon, but Trump is this outside. Dude, Trump took all the donor money DeSantis took. Trump took the Sheldon. He's not like this outsider anymore. Those days are over. That illusion that Trump was going to take no one's money and just stand up to Big Pharma, it didn't happen. So let's stop pretending. If anything, DeSantis is on the same level as Trump. McCarthy's corrupt. Then why is he friends with, Trump is a politician now, okay? Better than most, but he's a politician. Friends with McCarthy, friends with Ducey, campaigns for these people. I get it. It's either McConnell or a Democrat, but let's stop pretending like Trump doesn't play the game. He put in an FBI director who's still there. Why? Because his FBI director is suitable for Joe Biden. That's who he chose. He's not a victim. He put in Barr. He put in Ray. He put in Milley. He worked with Fauci. His Surgeon General sucked. He put in a Big Pharma guy. Stop. I'm fine with Trump winning again, but the base has to stop acting like he's this innocent victim who never did anything wrong. He's going to make the same mistakes again because nobody stands up to him. Here's why nobody stands up to him. Trump hates being told no. If you stand up to him, Trump gets, Jeff Sessions, John Bolton, of course. Trump doesn't like to be corrected. If you're like, why did you do that to Big Pharma? Trump tries to I'm not saying Candace is perfect. I mean, she's a human just like everyone else and Trump is too, but I think her story kind of shows a little, and I'm not trying to get gossipy because it's not my business, but it's a public story now where she did an interview with Trump. Trump sounded like a Big Pharma shill because he is. He said the vaccine was the greatest human achievement in modern history, which it's not. He said it saved 100 million lives and nobody's dying when they take the vaccine. And now Candace is in a pickle because Candace knows that's a lie. Candace knows Trump's lying through his teeth. Candace Owens doesn't believe that. So now she's stuck in a rock and a hard place. Do I come out and say, because people are starting to get mad at her just from the interview because she didn't push back as much as some people wanted. So now Candace thinks, should I defend Trump or should I defend myself? Because I don't believe what he said. So Candace tried to defend Trump because she's loyal to Trump. And she's like, I'm not going to say exactly what she said, but something along the lines of, he doesn't know, she's trying to cover for Trump's stupid lies for Big Pharma. And then Trump gets mad at her for, she was trying to cover for him. I wouldn't do that personally because it's like, dude, he's lying. Everyone knows he's lying, but everyone's trying to, let's just cover. And then that's the type of person that Trump clearly is. He lies, you try to defend him, and he gets mad at you. Like, the only thing Trump wants is you to get on your knees and be like, you're right, Donald Trump. Operation Warp Speed was amazing. You did save the world from the Spanish flu. 100 million people would have died without your vaccine. VAERS reporting doesn't exist. Yeah, give the death penalty to drug dealers, but not to your friends who killed more people than most drug dealers. Yeah, like, that's what he wants. If you don't do that, this is why I don't want to be around this stuff anymore, because it's like you got to go to Mar-a-Lago and just become a liar. Like, everybody that was at Mar-a-Lago for Trump's inauguration, I'm not saying they're all liars, because they're not. A lot of my friends are there, but at the end of the day, now you're tapped into that world. So now if you tell the truth about it, Trump's going to hate you. And so you're pretty much, now you're not a journalist. You're a professional right-wing liar. You'll lie for your party. You'll lie for clout. You'll lie for trips. Who wants to do a real interview? It's not a lot of journalists out there. There's a lot of, professional team players. Someone said it's subject to flattery. Well, that's another thing, too, I think, about Trump that is pretty obvious, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but I think Trump does like flattery. Everybody likes flattery to a certain extent. Everybody likes somebody who likes them. But I think Trump specifically makes terrible choices because he'd rather hire a Mike Pompeo who licks his boots for a position, because Mike Pompeo is a smart politician who plays the game. He'd rather a Mike Pompeo who lies to him than someone like Candace who would tell the truth to him or challenge him. That's the type of person he is. So if you're Thomas Massie, go away. If you try, he wants to surround himself by yes men, but unfortunately, everybody just takes advantage of Trump because he's easy to take advantage of. You're just like, yeah, Trump, you're the best. Your shit doesn't stink, and he'll hire you. He doesn't care if you're Christopher Wray, Jeff Sessions, Jared Kushner, Mike Pompeo, John Bolton. He'll hire anybody that just sniffs his butt, which isn't good leadership. His Surgeon General sucked, and his HHS piss sucked. DeSantis, how come he didn't do? Because DeSantis isn't that stupid. I'm not saying Trump's dumb, but it's like it's a huge character flaw to just like want yes men all the time and nobody could tell you the truth. I think DeSantis is way more keen than that with who he hires. I think his the lady running his operation, Christine, is doing a good job. I think his Surgeon General is doing a good job. His team's small, and I don't think he's funneling through people because he made decent choices. So you can vote for him. It's just like let's have a convo about it. Let's not act like he's this infallible hero. It's like he's gonna make all the same mistakes again, because that's the movement right now. It's literally just sniff his butt and act like everything he did is amazing and he's an innocent victim. And if you don't do that, people don't like you. So what's the point? It's not going to work, It's going to be the same results. But someone said it's all theater, maybe. I'm going to head out in a few minutes, but I'll stay for a few more. If you guys got any questions, I've been away for a week, so all I have is time at this point. I'm pretty much going to take a break. Who would be his vice president? I feel like he might do Carrie Lake. I feel like she could be like a pretty heavy favorite for his, I could see her being his vice president. Carrie Lake is definitely like a standout when it comes to personality, interviews, she's definitely a standout. And I think that Carrie Lake is very loyal to Trump. Like, in order to be his VP, you got to be loyal. Here's another thing with the Pence thing. I'm not trying to harp on this. Someone said he pardoned Jonathan Pollard, who got a huge applause when he went back to the homeland. But anyway, everybody's like, oh, Anomaly, you agree with Mike Pence. I'm like, I didn't hire Mike Pence. I don't like Mike Pence. I like Trump more than Mike Pence, but like, I can't play this game where Trump is this big baby victim where it's like, oh, Pence, why would you hire a vice president that you don't like? If like, what? Oh, well, Mike Pence didn't do this. Well, then why did Mike Pence has been a sneak the whole time? He's a Christian guy. He seems nice. He seems loyal as a friend, but he's not, he's not like a freaking, it's not like he's John McAfee or anything, or like Bill Cooper. Like, it's Mike Pence, the politician. He's a Republican. Trump picked an establishment guy as his vice president. Well, like, is that not his fault? Like, I'm so tired of this like weird victim thing where it's like everything he does is not his fault. It's like, okay. Someone said there's a rumor that Pence is running. It doesn't matter because Pence can't even get 3% of the vote. No, I personally think Pence is establishment. Pence is a sneak during COVID, and he was doing a lot of the COVID stuff that was bad too. I think Trump kind of just threw him under the bus as a Hail Mary, which was not the right thing to do in my opinion. But overall, it doesn't matter if Mike Pence runs because he can't win. You know, Mike Pence is highly unpopular in the Republican Party after the election, whether it's right or not. So if he runs, he's doing it for himself because Pence is not even going to get like 5% of the vote. I'll tell you, if DeSantis runs, in my opinion, he's the slight favorite, but it's very neck and neck with Trump. I think they're pretty even. If Rand Paul runs, I think he could do some damage, but maybe not. But, you know, Ted Cruz would get more votes than Pence. Pence would do worse than Kamala Harris. Like, if Pence runs, he's doing it just to stand on stage. He's going to get a percentage point. Like, there's no point in him running. I think Pompeo thinks he might run. Like, these people are they're not living in reality. You know, it's pretty much Trump, DeSantis, maybe Rand Paul and Ted Cruz, but probably not. I don't know that anybody else really has the sauce to even come close to them. But someone said, I love Rand Paul, but he's too rational to win. Well, here, to me, this is the DeSantis and Trump. DeSantis ran circles around Trump in COVID world. He just did. If DeSantis can stick to that narrative, he's going to make Trump look like an idiot. Trump doesn't like to be challenged. If you watch the Candace Owens interview, I could play it again. Trump, when he gets questioned, is very goofy and very dishonest. Like, DeSantis will blow him out of the water if Trump keeps on that path of lying for Big Pharma. If DeSantis doesn't run and Rand Paul runs and Rand Paul uses his opportunity to call Trump out on all his Operation Warp Speed stuff, and I think Rand Paul could, you know, capture the hearts of people, maybe not win, but come pretty close if he can control the narrative and expose. Like, I think Trump would have it if he just told the truth, but he's dead set. It's weird because Trump actually did like 30 impressive things. But instead of focusing on what he did, he kept focusing on the only thing that he did that was super evil, or one of the things that he did that were the most evil. He took his most egregious error and his most evil Big Pharma he talks about drug dealers. Trump is a drug dealer. Trump is the biggest drug dealer in modern history at this point for his Operation Warp Speed scheme. Trump and his friends are drug dealers. He wants to give the death penalty to drug dealers. That's a bold move from somebody who is a drug dealer themselves. With that being said, if Trump just moved on completely, like maybe he has now, it wouldn't sit in the hearts of people that much. I mean, people would be annoyed, but Trump spent the last year taking the most evil drug deal scheme he's ever done and acting like it was the greatest thing in modern history. So he's digging his own grave. If Trump stands on the stage and tries to act like Operation Warp Speed's amazing, lockdowns and vaccines are great, he's going to look like an idiot. The only way he's going to beat DeSantis in a debate is if he doesn't talk about that at all and distance himself from that. But for some weird reason, he doesn't want to distance himself from that. It's like someone flipped a switch in him and he just turned into a vaccine salesman. That's why I call him Old Man Pharma, Grandpa Moderna, the father of the vaccine. Actually, he calls himself that. Like, he's not going to win if that's his campaign. He's got to completely distance himself from that. Either say he made a mistake or just not talk about it at all. It's not like nobody thinks it was that good of a thing. Like, even people who got the shot, they're not like, oh, yeah, this is the greatest thing I've ever had. Like, nobody thinks that. Like, he's not doing anything with that. Do I think he was lied to? Yeah, but at a certain point, I personally don't think Trump is as stupid as people think he is with vaccines. I think he definitely is confused about some things, but he's not a boomer who has loved vaccines his whole life and never questioned vaccines. Guys, he talks about autism. I'm not saying you can't say that on social media. I'm just reporting the fact that that's what Trump was saying. Trump was a skeptic of vaccines. Trump asked for a meeting of Robert Kennedy. He wanted a meeting with Robert Kennedy to look into vaccine injuries. Trump is not some like pro-vaccine boomer who just thinks they're the greatest thing ever. He understands that there might possibly be something that they're not saying. He's not Like the excuses people are making for him, that's not true. So what changed? Did he get lied to? I think he did business with Big Pharma. I think he had two different paths he could have gone. I think Robert Kennedy makes it really clear. Trump could have gone the route of standing up to Big Pharma, and he could have, taken a risk and really went that route. Instead, Trump went the route of Big Pharma. He turned his back on RFK. He shut down vaccine injury research, and he went with Fauci. He went with Gates. He got money from Pfizer for his inauguration, and after that, everything changed, and he put in a pharmacy lobbyist at the head of HHS. And all of this mRNA stuff was not new. It's been around for years. They've been working on it behind the scenes. And in 2018, Bill Gates came to Trump and said he wanted to do an executive order for a universal flu vaccine. And Trump passed that exact thing that Bill Gates told him through legislation in 2019. Was he lied to? Sure, but here's the thing. I don't think Trump is stupid. I think he's an immoral businessman. I think he would sell water to a whale and salt to a snail. So he's not who I thought he was. I thought he had morals and values, and I thought he was going to stand up to the swamp. But Trump joined the swamp and became the swamp's greatest salesman. Big Pharma is one of the biggest swamps in America, and Donald Trump became a father of their product, which is their swampiest product in modern history. Trump is one of the biggest drug dealers in modern history. I don't think he's stupid. I think he's immoral. I think he's a horrible person, and he chose to deceive the American people, deceive his base, and I think he knows exactly what he's doing, and that's why he just wants people to fall in line. He doesn't want to tell the truth. He doesn't want to talk about what's going on. He wants you to shut up and get behind him. I think he's evil. I don't think he's a good person at all. I don't think he's a good leader at all. I don't think he's learned anything. I don't think he's too dumb to realize what he's doing. I just think that's who he is. He's a salesman. He's selling an evil product for an evil corporation, and he doesn't care. He doesn't have the soul that people thought he had. And it's not Trump derangement syndrome you're projecting onto me, because a lot of people are deranged in his defense. It's not moral. Operation Warp Speed is the biggest drug deal in modern history. It's one of the most evil, if not the most evil, drug schemes in modern history. It's way deeper than people realize. In my personal perspective, I'm not going to be called a conspiracy theorist or get fact-checked for this. This is my opinion, based on evidence. I believe all the lockdown stuff was a sales tactic. I mean, I think that was the marketing tactic for the vaccine. When they locked down and Operation Warp Speed came out, what did they start doing? They started holding you for ransom. Now, all of a sudden, it's not about the deaths. It's about the cases. Now it's not about the cases. You got to be a slave until the vaccine comes out. What does that do to you mentally if they're holding you for ransom as they're doing socialist schemes to give Big Pharma money, and they say if you get the vaccine, then you could be set free? It's a marketing tactic. This whole thing, in my opinion, was a giant marketing scheme for Big Pharma. So you can't separate. You can if you want, but in my perspective, you can't separate this from this and say, well, he did this. It's all together. He's in on all of it. That's why he didn't do anything. So, you could believe what you want, but this is what I believe. It's backed by evidence and facts. And, if that's not what people want to believe, that's fine. But it's like, I don't consider Operation Warp Speed a good thing. I don't think just because he didn't mandate it, it was good. I think it was the biggest drug deal in modern history. It was years in the making. Trump was involved in almost every aspect of it. He was involved in putting a pharmacy lobbyist at the head of the position, passing an executive order in 2019, 15 days to slow the spread, the extension, and then Operation Warp Speed, and then the CARES Act. Trump is the quarterback of all of this. I consider him a socialist and a communist. He's not a capitalist. I mean, the Republican Party has people brainwashed. They're like, socialism's bad. Yeah, it is bad, but is it bad when they do it? No. Tim Scott brags about it. Donald Trump brags about it. They're phonies. They're fake. It's like the fact that people haven't figured this out just shows why you get this. It's like, if people are this dumb, why wouldn't they keep doing it? It's like, they're like, dude, we just scammed people and they don't even realize it. So I'm not getting off of this topic because it's everything to me. And I think if Big Pharma, if nobody realizes what they did, or nobody tries, if they don't get held accountable in some form of law, I mean, they're going to do something evil again, So I'm fine. Someone said, of course he's a capitalist, but he's not, though. You could say I'm losing the plot, but I'm going to say something factual right now. And if you don't agree with it, you're losing the plot. Every year when they pass an omnibus bill, That's not capitalism. That's big government socialism. Trump said he'd never pass a bill like that again, and he did it in 2019. In 2020, when he did the CARES Act, that's not capitalism. Operation Warp Speed is not capitalism. Capitalism is Pfizer and Moderna making a product so good that everybody wants it on a free market. Capitalism is not Donald Trump signing a pen with Big Pharma lobbyists and executives surrounding him, saying that Big Pharma is going to get $18 billion of government funny money, socialist tax. That's called socialism. That's Big Pharma socialism. When the country's locked down and Trump signs an executive order to give the CDC power to strong-arm landlords, that's called communism. So you're brainwashed if you don't think that that's socialism and communism. He says he's a capitalist, but his actions prove that he does socialism, and they all do socialism. And if you want to know the truth, if you want to read the Communist Manifesto and know how socialism really works, income tax is also socialist, because when the founding fathers wrote the Constitution and Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto 100 years later, there was no income tax. The idea of graduated progressive income tax is a socialist scheme. So in my opinion, 33% tax for the wealthy, that's socialism. 20% tax for that bracket, that's socialism. 15% tax if you're in the lower, it's all socialism. That, in my opinion, even if the Republicans aren't printing money, income tax and graduated progressive income tax is socialism. And what happened in 2020 was straight up communism. So he's not a capitalist. In his mouth says capitalism, but his pen says communism. If you don't see that, you don't deserve anything. I deserve freedom. No, you don't. You deserve another lockdown and what? If you can't even identify that printing $6 trillion and giving $18 billion of taxpayer money to Big Pharma isn't capitalism, what's wrong with you? I mean, how brainwashed are you by idol worship of politicians? If AOC did that, you would say it's socialism. If Hillary Clinton did that, you would say it's socialism. But when Donald Trump does it, it's capital. I mean, you're like mind controlled into like insanity. I'm calm. I'm sitting here reasonably. Someone said you're judging his shortfalls over his wisdom. I'm not judging anything. I'm telling you what happened. If you think that that's not socialism, you don't deserve capitalism. It's not judging his shortfalls. That's literally what happened. This is why Republicans lose. They have no whatever it's called, principles. It's like this is why libertarians hate Republicans. And to be honest, they're right about why they don't like Republicans. There's a quote by a libertarian, which is true. They say Republicans campaign like libertarians and govern like Democrats. I don't know who said that, some libertarian, but that's true. That's why a lot of libertarians like me, even though I'm not a libertarian. That's what Republicans are. Every time they run for office, they campaign on the idea that they're libertarians. We believe in small government. And when they get in office, they always govern like Democrats. Trump governed like a Democrat. He printed more money than Obama. I'm not saying it's not capitalism and it's not libertarianism. It's socialism. If you really don't like socialism, you can't like it when your party does it. Are people really this dumb? Are people really this like mind controlled by party politics? It's insane. This has nothing to do with Trump derangement syndrome. It has to do with I understand what socialism is, and Republicans do it. And they're shameless about it, and they never change and they never learn because nobody calls them out on it. It's always, well, it's going to be different this time. Well, Ronald Reagan, it's going to be different this time. It's George Bush, it's going to be different this time. It's Bill Clinton, it's going to be different this time. It's George Bush Jr., it's going to be different this time. I'm Barack Obama, okay? It's going to be different this time. I'm Donald Trump, okay? It's going to be different this time. I'm Joe Biden, man. The corn pop, it's going to be different. It's going to be, I did socialism last time, but it's going to be different this time, even though it's not going to be different. Are people really this brain dead? There's a reason it's never different, is because people don't even realize they're doing it. So it's so obvious. I'm not even saying anything that controversial or edgy. It's like when you print money, give the CDC power. I'm going to say it one more time. And if you don't get it, like, I don't care if you're 60 years old or 20 years old, you have the mind of a 3-year-old that got dropped on their head. So I'm going to say it really quick. Free market is when Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson make a product that's so good that everybody wants to buy it and all the doctors want to buy it up, and everybody goes and runs and gets the product on their own free will because it's a really good product. Socialism and communism is when you shut the government down, print $6 trillion over the course of a year, and give $18 billion to Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, Moderna, and then you buy, with government taxpayer money, 100 million doses of the Pfizer product with taxpayer money, and then everybody goes and gets it. That's not capitalism. If you think that that's capitalism, you have the brain of a 3-year-old that got picked upside down from their head and dropped on their head. And I'm not saying this to make fun of people. I don't think I'm like, Nikola Tesla here doing an invention. I'm saying this because it's pathetic if you don't understand that that's not capitalism, what I just told you. Like, if you don't get that, you need to look in the mirror, because like something happened to your brain over like politics where you need to reassess. It's pretty, it couldn't possibly be more clear. There are a lot of big pharma products that they made under capitalism. The COVID vaccine is not one of them. That was the most socialist communist scheme in modern history. There's never been a more socialist and communist product than the COVID vaccine. It's not even debatable. Number 2 is not even close. So if you don't see that, this is why Trump is so annoying. If Hillary Clinton did that, no one would be disagreeing with me. If Ted Cruz or John McCain did that, everybody would get it. But Trump has not just brainwashed the left wing into oblivion, they've brainwashed a lot of right wingers into like not understanding basic communism. It's like basic concepts. It's like 1 + 1 is 2. Yeah. 1 + 1 is 2 with Trump. No, 1 + 1 is 17. Oh, you're a racist. Oh, it's like, what the hell? Come on, guys. So someone said I'm a reassess. This is one of the easier concepts I've ever talked about. The COVID vaccine is not capitalist. It's not even remotely debatable. It's completely obvious. Why do I always pick on brain damaged 3-year-olds though? There's nothing wrong with brain damaged 3-year-olds, but a 60-year-old person that's never been dropped on their head, or even if you have been dropped on your head, all of us are a little crazy. Someone said I got dropped on my head. I may or may not have been dropped on my head as well. So I speak from a place of unity. What do I think about FTX? I'll have to really research it. It looks like they scam people. I don't know exactly what they did. Collected a bunch of money, spent it, and then lost it when the price went down. I'm not quite sure how that worked, but I think when things are up, people try to take money and reinvest it to make more money, and maybe they mess that up. I got to look at it, but I'm sure that I'll figure it out. Someone said you're back on air because you turned from Trump to Biden. Nobody believes that. If that's your logic, I say that the COVID vaccine was a socialist scheme, and you say that I like Joe Biden. Like, do you actually believe yourself? Or I'm like, the COVID vaccine, socialist. Oh, you like Biden now. I don't like Joe Biden. I didn't vote for Joe Biden. I consider Joe Biden the oldest and dumbest president we've ever had. A liar. Probably one of the biggest liars we've ever had, if that's even possible. I would never vote for Joe Biden, but if I say that the COVID vaccine was socialist, I must like Biden over Trump. Are you 5 years old? Like, are you 3? Is this the first day of kindergarten? You poopied in your pants? The sad part is I'm not ageist, because I'm actually ageist. I like grandmas too much, not in that way. I just, we love grandmas, grandpas. We love the older generation. We don't discriminate at all. We love the elders and the youngins. But when people say this type of stuff to me, it's always like 50 to 60-year-old people or like 40-year-old. I'm not discriminating. We love 50 and 60-year-olds here. But like, how are you going to be a 50-year-old acting like you poopied in your pants because I said that the COVID vaccine is socialist? Like, I poopy in my pants and you like Biden. It's like, if you don't like Trump, you like Biden. I poop in my pants because I pump. It's like, and then it's like with like Trump or DeSantis, like, oh, if you don't like Trump, you're DeSantis. If you don't like DeSantis, you're Trump. It's like people think in binaries. It's so pathetic. Like,
Oh, if you don't like Trump, you must be a neocon. Oh, did you get paid off by the Mercer community? Oh, you ain't the same more than Trump? What the hell? Are you working for Nancy Pelosi?
It's like, is this like how dumb that like we are? It's got to be. If you even have one thing to say about DeSantis, then you must work with me. It's like, dude, just stop. It's so childish. If like a 12-year-old was doing this, I'd be like, oh yeah, they're 12. But it's like a 65-year-old guy with a Trump shirt on. No, am I getting paid to say that? I wish I could get paid for just being like, if I just said that and someone paid me, that would be ideal, you know? They're like, anomaly, do an impression of like a pissed off person on Facebook and we'll give you a couple grand. I'm like, okay, DeSantis or Trump, you know? That would be, I would love that. Someone said, build back better. Oh yeah, we're building all right. Someone said those voices are epic. I gotta get better impressions. I'm okay. Someone said Carrie Lake would have been the only unvaccinated governor, and that tells you all you need to know about the Republican Party. It's like not one of you guys had a spine. You know what I'm saying? They're all like Ted Cruz. Like I get my vaccine. I'm Ted Cruz. I got my vaccine, and I'm gonna pass a resolution so only vaccinated people can take their masks off on airplanes. And then I'm like, yo, that's lame. And you're like, what are you, Biden? You support Biden over Trump? I'm like, the Republicans are so pathetic and lame. And then when you say they're pathetic and lame, people are mad. Like, you have to stick to the Trump script and just be like, Mitch McConnell. And people are like, Mitch McConnell's bad. And you're like, Mike Pence is bad. And you're like, what about this guy? And they're like, what? That's my hero. I just... All right, we're back. All right. Someone said, I'm going to read this. Randall said, this is why I quit watching you. You can't be objective on both sides. This is why Tim Pool's kicking your ass. Go watch the Beanie Gremlin then. That's fine. Someone said, Junior, you're always here and you're always complaining, my guy. I'm just going to ignore your comments. You come every time and you complain the whole time. At a certain point, it's time to move on, you know? If you want to watch the Dumpster Beanie, you watch him. You just make sure you don't go to a live Tim Pool show because it might smell. Because he wears the same beanie all the time. It just, you know, it's probably like molding up there because he just doesn't want to take it off. But now people, I wish that Tim would have let me on the show so I could speak the truth. But it's like whatever. He was his team was super douchey and canceled the show. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. But in general, it's like people don't even know what I'm talking about because nobody talks about it. It's not objective to just like not say what I said. So I don't know. Whatever. Let's see. Thank you, the Huntsman. I appreciate it. Someone said they didn't let you on. I don't want to replay what happened, but yeah, they were super scummy. I flew out there. I was supposed to be on the show, but they locked me out basically. Told me that I could get like, I got a closer hotel than where they were, and they said they'd pay for it, and then they backed out of paying for it, which I don't need the money, but it's just super cheap and douchey. And then they had like 3 days where I was like, I could be on, like, they're like, oh, we can't have you on the next day. And it's like I watched, and there's 7 people on a microphone. They only had 1 guest. Sometimes they have 2, 3 guests. Yeah, Tim Pool's a dick. I've been on dozens of shows, probably hundreds of podcasts. I've played live music shows in 10 different states. I played in front of tens of thousands of people. I've been in podcasts and businesses that are way bigger and wealthier than Tim's. Tim's team is the douchiest team I've ever talked to in my entire life. They treated me like shit, completely unaccommodating, lying about saying that they would pay for my stuff. Tim never reached out to me. He's a piece of garbage. He's an evil little demon. And he's a short, pathetic, self-conscious man, so he wears a dumpster beanie on his head all the time, and you know he doesn't want to show people that he's bald, so he, instead of looking like a 50-year-old bald loser, he looks like a 12-year-old kid with like one of those spinny hats on, pooping his pants at high school. So I get it. You know, if I hated myself as much as Tim, I probably wouldn't. I probably would have treated me like shit too. But you know, I've been on hundreds of shows, been to a bunch of places. I've never been treated as poorly as his staff, and the fact that he never even had the decency to reach out to me. Tim is a little midget dumpster gremlin who has a soggy beanie because he's a pathetic old man who wants to look like a 12-year-old. So, you know, he's evil.
Yeah, I poop my pants. I got a beanie on. I say generic things and read headlines. Oh my gosh! Was that Albert Einstein on that live stream? I mean, I've never heard that.
Anomaly, you should look into FTX. You should look into it. Someone said he's jealous of my hair. Well, no, I think he purposely sabotaged me, to be honest, because I could have got to the thing. They're like, oh, we locked the doors and we can't have you on the show. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, can I come on tomorrow? They're like, the next day? No, the next. I watched the shows. There's like no one there. I'm like, I was like stranded in a random part of like Washington for 3 days. And like the way they were treating me too is like, oh, just treat it like it was basically like I got flown out and then they just treated me like shit the whole time. I'm like, dude, I think it's because I would have to look down at him. You know, I'm 6'3", so I'd like have to pick him up like he got like, you know, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And I'd be like, Tim, are you okay? He's like, I'm not okay. I wear a beanie all the time because I hate myself. I'm like, are you okay, Tim? You have a lot of money now. Women like you. You know, you can get women out. But I'm an atheist. I hate everybody. I just treat everyone like shit. It's like, I'd have to, you know, maybe that's why he didn't let me on, because, you know, I'd have to talk to him like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Truth be told, though, before I went on Tim's show, I'm not going to name names, but before I went on Tim's show, I know a lot of people who've been on the show, and I'm always like, oh, that's a great opportunity. Like, that must have been awesome, right? Nobody likes Tim. I'm not going to name names, but like everybody I've ever met that's been on Tim's show, even before I didn't despise him because his team treated me like terrible and he's a demon, before I had no reason to like really hate him or anything. I was like, he's whatever. He's fine. I was always like telling my friends who go on a show, I'm like, yo, that's pretty dope. You went on Tim. That's got to be pretty cool, right? Nobody was happy about it. It's like he's like a terrible host. Like everyone's like, no, dude, Tim sucks. Like Tim's like weird. His staff's weird. Like the vibe was weird. Like he doesn't even look at me in the face. Like he treats everyone like shit. And then the moment it goes live, he looks at you. Like Tim's like a weirdo. Like no, I'm not just saying this because I don't like him now. Nobody likes him. I actually used to kind of somewhat, I was like, he's okay. And I'd be like, oh, wasn't that fun going on Tim's show? And everyone's like, no, dude, he's a weird. Like he just acts really bizarre and weird and creepy and everything's creepy there. And then the second like the lights go on, he just looks at you like he like is really friends with you, but off camera he treats everybody like garbage, like, you know. So it's like nobody likes Tim. They just pretend to like him so they could get clout from him. I didn't hate him or anything. I mean, I thought he was whatever, but it's like, you know, before he treated me like shit and his staff just like, you know, left me stranded and lied about paying for my hotel and stuff. Before that, I was like, he does net positive work. You know, he's not like the most revolutionary guy, but I'm like, I didn't have a reason to like really hate him or anything. I'm like, he's cool. I'd love to talk to him. You know, I had a semi-pot. I was like, he'll be all right. And then after how he treated me, I'm like, oh, now I see what everyone else talks about. That's why nobody likes him, because he's just a piece of shit. Like, he might be a decent like YouTuber, but as a person, he's like a total piece of shit. Like such a piece of shit that out of every friend I've ever had go on the show, before I even despised him, I was like, that must have been fun. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't great. That must have been really dope. And everyone's like, no, Tim's fucking weird. No, that must have been great. Dude, I hate Tim. I just go on a show. Like everybody just uses him because they don't like him. You know, most people just despise him because he's a weirdo and a dickhead. So I get it. I'm like, oh, I ignored all the red flags. Everybody's like, he's a dickhead, he's a scumbag, he's a lot. I'm like, what? He can't be that. And then he leaves me stranded. He doesn't even message me. His team treats me like shit. They lie about paying for the hotel. They don't let me on the show. They lock me out of my own podcast when I flew, a couple states over to go to the show. Told me to treat it like a layover. Treated me like a piece of shit. It's like, fuck Tim and his whole staff. They're demons and pieces of garbage. Evil people. The one person who treated me bad left, so I don't know what happened, but it's like the vibe there apparently is just a bunch of dumpster gremlins, you know what I'm saying? Just like people that live in dumpster and just have like, you know, soggy beanies on their head because they're self-conscious. Just a bad vibe. I was hoping it wasn't that way, but it's like I ignored all the red flags. Like I should have listened to everybody because I was like, that must have been dope. You know, he's got a lot of viewers. I mean, take advantage. You know, they're like, no, dude, Tim sucks. I'm like, how bad could this guy be? Like he doesn't seem that bad. And I'm here like, no, dude, he's really weird. He's really fake. He's really like sketchy. He's really like not a good host. I'm like, whatever. And then now I see it. I'm like, oh yeah, he really is a piece of shit. But whatever. No more. He could have at least messaged me and been like, yo, my bad, or like, it's whatever. He was born in a beanie, yeah. I was looking forward to it too because there's so much, like, this is what annoys me more than anything. I don't need any more attention or clout or anything. There's dialogue that nobody knows who watches Tim Pool, that nobody knows who watches PragerU, that nobody knows who goes to Turning Point. When I meet people in person, they get what I'm saying because it's true and it's real. But the reason they don't know anything is because there's like a major right-wing media blackout where they never talk about certain issues, like the speech laws I talk about, like true criticism of stuff going on. So I was excited to finally get on a big platform, not because I need a bunch of followers. I already have over 2 million followers. I make money. I'm fine. I wanted to get my message across. I wanted people that have that audience to hear something they've never heard. And then it's like every time I have a podcast, I'm not going to make a conspiracy theory about it, but I think they purposely sabotage me. I think if I was somebody else, they would have let me go to the studio. I think they locked me out and sabotaged me because they didn't want what I was going to say on air. I don't know why, but I kind of do know why. This has happened to me before, guys. I've been on networks that you've heard of, and they cut it. They always cut my podcast. They act like you think it wasn't a good podcast? It was the best podcast. It was good, at least better than a lot. They don't want what I'm saying to air. But here's the thing. If you don't want what I'm saying to air, just don't fly me there. Don't invite me so I waste 3 days of my time going out of my way to go somewhere that I don't want to go to talk to you and go in the middle of F nowhere. No offense. I'm just saying it's like not in a place that's even that accessible. Just tell me you don't like me and I don't care. It's like, just be like, yeah, don't fly me there and then cancel me. They're lying. If I was James O'Keefe or Jack Pasabic or one of their friends, for sure they would have let me in. I wasn't going to be that late. And I wasn't late because I booked my own flight. They booked my flight. They refused to let me in my own podcast. And then they had 3 days to make it up or say something or at least just have like they're just shitty people. In my personal opinion, I think he surrounds himself by people that make him look good. So I don't think he wants people that like outshine him. So he's got to keep the quality like somewhat low in order to make himself look good. But whatever. I'm not at this point. I don't need more friends. I just want someone to speak the truth. Like, someone to go on there and say something that they're not saying, but whatever. Someone said Anomaly team up with Ari the Rugged Man and do a diss track. It's not worth a diss track, but I've spoken to Ari the Rugged Man before, though. Yeah, I saw when Ari the Rugged Man checked him. Here's my take on that. I don't know if I've mentioned it on here, maybe on Instagram, but Ari the Rugged Man is this white rapper from New York. He's, pretty tough guy, not left-wing, not right-wing, kind of more left-wing, but pretty reasonable. Is somewhat fair, but has different opinions than right-wingers. Anyway, Tim Pool had this guy, Ari the Rugged Man, on, who's a pretty street dude. He's white dude, street dude. Tim starts screaming at him, and then Ari the Rugged Man stood up like he was going to fight him, and Tim like freaked out. But here, a lot of people were like, oh, that was messed up. But if you watch the thing, you have to understand, like, this is like what Tim, I think this is why he's such a weirdo, is like, it's like when I'm by myself, it's okay to like talk and yell and whatever when you're by yourself. But when you're with another man, like, especially someone like Ari the Rugged Man, like he's a real man. You don't just scream at somebody. I mean, you could debate and stuff, but like you can't have the same energy you have when you're with a bunch of your little poopy pants gremlin friends who are like 5'3" and a bunch of nerds and losers that, don't want to say anything to you because they want the money. So with Ari the Rugged Man, Tim starts screaming at him like aggressively, and Ari gets up like he's going to beat the shit out of him. And Tim's like, whoa, my bad. And it's like, Tim lives in his little fake world and treats everyone like shit. So when a real man comes in, Tim's used to screaming at people, but he's like a 5'3" dumpster beanie baby, like gremlin, dirty, bald loser. So it's like, and I'm not saying if you're bald, you're a loser, but just embrace it. Kelly Slater's bald. He's epic. He just embraces it. He doesn't wear a beanie every time he surfs. It's pathetic. Tim looks like a 12-year-old boy because he refuses to just be a man and show what he looks like. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I have my hair out. Sometimes I wear a hat, but it's like the dude is self-conscious and he treats everyone like shit because he hates himself and he's afraid to be himself. So he's always yelling at his guests all the time. So he's like screaming at RA, and RA gets up and like, whoa, I didn't. It's like, Tim, you don't have to like people. You don't have to agree. But if you're speaking to another grown man that's a big, strong guy and pretty reasonable, you don't have to agree. But you can't yell at him like you're yelling at your little gremlin staff members, like he's probably like a dictator over there. Get me my apple juice. And they're like, sorry, Tim, I dropped it. He's like, what the hell? He seems like a little evil, demonic, like angry little man, I have money. I have money now. I'm going to heaven because I have money. I don't believe in God, but I have money. Why not get a gold beanie or something? You got money. Why not get some gold flakes in it? You know what I'm saying? Flex on him a little bit. Someone said, sorry, that was funny. Someone said, RA, the rugged man's not reasonable. I mean, when I spoke to him, he was reasonable. I've seen takes of his that I disagree with, but I guess it depends who you are and what you talk about. There's things that we don't agree on, but he was nice to me when we had a conversation. Maybe he just didn't talk about that much or whatever, but what's my thought on Jocko Willink? I don't listen to his podcast that much, but I like his mindset. He seems like personal fitness. I like stuff like that mindset, In my opinion, too, before I was on Tim, this was the one thing I didn't like about Tim, because I wasn't like a Tim hater or anything before I went on. But one thing I used to joke about is like, he doesn't look like he works out. He doesn't look like he likes himself. Like he's like an angry little beanie man. So he's always like spreading that energy to his audience. Like Tim's always like, Civil War, oh my God, holy shit. Like, he's always cursing and freaking out and like screaming and being angry. It's like, Jocko Willink doesn't act that way because Jocko Willink's a man. He works out. Like, you are what you put out. So with like, I like people like Andy Frisella. I like people that are about taking care of yourself, self-accountability, self-awareness. Politics doesn't matter if you don't take care of yourself. So Tim, to me, has always been a study case of somebody that doesn't really take care of themselves, that is like angry and demonic, but wants to scream all the time because he's like screaming at himself. And, it's like the demons are like manifesting on himself. He's mad all the time. It's like, bro, if he actually took care of himself and had self-confidence and took the beanie off and embraced, his head, I think he'd have a whole different energy to his show. But he's always yelling Civil War and freaking out. It's like, bro, you're making millions of dollars. Nobody's fighting anybody right now. What are people going to do? Fight in the streets and George Soros and, Sheldon Adelson will laugh hysterically? Like where are people like, it's like, I feel like he's just always fear mongering and always like angry and, acting like it's like how, like, calm down, dude, do some push-ups. You won't act that way. Someone said Alex Jones. I mean, Alex has always been wild, but yeah, I mean, Alex is also, I like Alex. I think he's a nice guy. He's also, gotten pretty fat and he drinks a lot of alcohol. I'm not knocking it, but it's like, for sure, that plays a role. I'm not a perfect person. I don't have like the perfect habits or anything, but like at the end of the day, like, it definitely plays a role if that's what you're doing in your own personal life. Like how could it not? I just personally like, and this is what I do. That's why I do it. Put this message of self-accountability and self-awareness. Even when I was at Turning Point USA, every politician from Ted Cruz to all these politicians, dude, all they were telling these college students were, it's so bad, it's so bad, it's worse than it's ever been, it's worse than it's ever been, vote for me, it's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad. Every politician said it's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad. If I got on stage in front of Turning Point USA, I'd talk a little bit of politics, of course, but I would give them a message of inspiration. It's actually one of the best times to be it's the best time to be a content creator. It's the best time to be a musician. You're in one of the greatest countries in the world. Even with all the problems, you still have the ability to make more money than someone in another country. You have the ability to become an influencer. If you're into politics, this has never been a better time to get into politics and not have to sell your soul. So even in the Republican Party, all their message is always negative, 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 negative. I'm not saying to not complain at all, because I know we all do our fair share of complaining, but give the kids a positive message. Don't just scream civil war, civil war, civil war. It's so bad, now give me donor money. You get so scared and just throw your money. Tell people about self-accountability, self-awareness. Change yourself to change the world. If you hone in on your personal life, you could start a business. You can become the next Ben Shapiro. You can do that. You can be like, give the kids a message of hope, not just like, it's all so screwed. Oh my God, they're changing genders. It's so bad. Give me donor money. It's like, that's all I hear. And I think, even before I was on Tim's show, that was the one thing that annoyed me before I realized he was just a terrible person or his company sucks. I just was like, dude, he's always angry and fear mongering and like yelling at his guests and stuff, where it's like, I think it roots from like lack of self-confidence and lack of really self-accountability, taking, control of your own life. But I mean, he business-wise, he's doing great business model. He's crushing it. I think he's crushing it business-wise. He's killing it. But, I saw two different sides of the story, because after Tim basically, didn't let me go to my own podcast, didn't even message me, didn't even contact me. It was like Lydia just texting me douchey things or whatever. And like, not like, okay, I can't go on the next day, can't go on the next day, can't go. Oh yeah, you're so busy. I watched the show. There's 7 people on a microphone. You just want to, if I was James O'Keefe or Jack Pasabic or other people, you would absolutely have found a microphone for them, and you would absolutely. So don't bullshit me. Don't act like there's no room. You guys just don't fucking like me, so you're leaving me stranded for 3 days and making no accommodation. I get it. You treated me like shit. Fuck you guys. Excuse my language. But anyway, I don't know why she left, but whatever. So anyway, after that podcast where they were treating me like shit and just treating me like I'm a peasant and just a piece of garbage, and the way they were like communicating with me, they're just total pieces of shit, like making me feel like just like total scumbags. I went to the exact opposite world. I went to Andy Frisella's First Form business, right? I was on Andy Frisella's podcast. He's got one of the biggest podcasts. It's comparable to Tim's. It's up there. Nice staff, amazing staff. The second I get there, they say, let me show you around. Amazing, buying me lunch, getting me gifts. I mean, they didn't have to do all that, but that's Andy's business model. Andy Frisella is a good person. His business model is, let's treat our guests amazing. Let's treat them over the top good. Let's show them that we care, and let's treat everybody like they're a family member. Tim Pool is like, I'm going to treat you like you're a piece of shit. I'm not even going to call you, and my staff's going to treat you like absolute garbage, and we're going to leave you stranded, not even let you on your own show. Like, Tim, I don't care how much money and success you have. He's an evil scumbag, and his company is garbage, and they suck, and they're mean. And then I went to somebody who's way richer than Tim. Andy Frisella and First Form, way bigger company, way more employees, way more money, way more reason to treat me like shit because they have way more money. But they don't treat me like shit because that's not how you treat people. So it's not about how good your business is. That's great that Tim's running a good business, but he's a scumbag. And Andy Frisella and First Form are the exact opposite. It was like, like Andy got busy and he's like, I'll buy you a hotel at the Ritz-Carlton. He didn't have to do that, but he's like, I'll fly you back. And I'm like, I could stay an extra day if you can have me on tomorrow. And Andy's like, yeah, that's fine. Got me a hotel. I stayed there. He was nice to me. I hung out with his bodyguard DJ, who's also the co-host, great guy. Like the exact opposite treatment. And I don't need a red carpet rolled out, but that if somebody flew out to my show and something happened, I'm not going to kick them out. I'm not going to lock them out. I'm not going to treat them like shit. Like, that's not what you do to somebody. I don't care if you're the biggest influencer or not. I'm not a small influencer by any means. I have millions of followers, almost 1 billion views. But even if I had 10 views, I don't treat my friends who aren't influencers like pieces of shit because they don't have a YouTube account. Like, that doesn't make it any better. So I've seen both sides of the coin. It's like, it's not just because he's doing so well that he's just not a good person. And literally, I haven't met a single person who's been on his show who actually likes him. And this was before he was a dick to me. Nobody likes the guy. So you can't just treat everybody like shit all the time. It's eventually, and in my opinion, that's why he gets so much hate and stuff. It's not just because he's right wing. He's just a dickhead. So it's like he attracts the most annoying people from the left because he's annoying on the right, you know? I feel bad. Nobody deserves like hate and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's like, stop treating people like that. Randall said, dude, you need to get laid. You need to find God, because it's not like an accomplishment to stick your dick in a woman. Like, oh, you need to get laid. You need to stick your dick in a lady anomaly. That's what you need. Bro, I can't even see your profile picture. I don't know who you are, but my worst day with women is probably the highlight of your life. Like I'm in the upper echelon of blessed. I got 99 problems, and women being into me are not one. If my entire life revolved around sticking a penis in a woman to make myself feel good, I could probably do it every night of my life. But I don't need to do that, and I don't want to do that, because getting laid is actually not cool. So I don't know. Maybe you need to get laid, but like it's not. Maybe you don't need to get laid. Maybe you should be celibate for a month or two and rethink. Like that's a huge diss to me. You need to stick your dick in a woman. Like, you're a loser. Yeah, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Not because I got treated like garbage, because I have a problem with women. That's what I'm that's the whole just so stupid. Someone said, man, oh man, I'm so happy I'm married at 27. Well, you're blessed. It's just like fun. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that guy's younger, but like when older men say that to me, they're like older than me. You need to get laid. It's like, you wish you had my life, you know? If you need to get laid, you wish you were me. If you live one day like me, you'd be like, dang, this is crazy. You wish you could see what I see. But God bless you, brother. Hopefully you find what you're looking for. Why did he? I'm not going to talk about it anymore. You should pop on to Quite Frankly one night. Yeah, I'm going to talk to him. We've talked before in the past. He invited me on, so I think I'm going to be on at the end of the month at some point. Someone said, "Oh, I get it now. You don't want to get laid." No, I don't. I don't want to stick my thing inside someone that I don't want to have kids with. I'm past that point in my life. I want to do it with someone I want kids with. I want to be married. To me, that's fun. Do I think Trump and Jones should be let back on Twitter? Me personally, of course. Of course, Trump and Alex. I mean, Elon will probably bring back Trump, in my opinion, but he won't bring back Alex Jones. But yeah, I think Alex Jones should be on Twitter, and Trump should be on Twitter. I've listened to Alex Jones. I don't agree with everything Alex says, and I'm not saying that to say, I don't agree with Alex. I think he makes some great points. He sells really good products. That being said, he does say some stuff that I consider not true and a little fear-mongery, but I don't think InfoWars is a worse company than CNN or even Fox News. Like, I don't personally, if you ask me, would I rather listen to Sean Hannity or Owen Schroyer? I'd rather listen to Owen Schroyer. I'd rather listen to Tucker Carlson perhaps over Alex Jones on some nights, but you know, there's a lot of talented people over at InfoWars. It's not just Alex Jones. So they deserve scrutiny, and, you know, any mistakes they've made, they have to own up to. But as far as this, I don't live in the reality that they're so much worse than CNN. I don't think that's true. I think, you know, if Alex is getting in trouble for certain things, I think Fox News and CNN should get in trouble for starting wars. You know, I don't buy into this narrative that Alex is that much worse than like Don Lemon. I mean, I don't think that at all. So I don't think he's perfect. I don't think he's infallible. I don't think he's without flaws, but he definitely deserves a Twitter in my world. I would enjoy that. Have I ever listened to Jeff Rentz? No. Hey, let me check my phone real quick, make sure. Okay. Just checking my phone. I want to make sure my mom landed. She did. Hold on one second. I'm going to text her. Hold on. I got to text my mom. She landed. Are you still up? Was on video. Well, actually, I'm still on video, but family first. Here, I'm going to put on my ringer. She calls. I'm going to end the live stream. She had to fly pretty far. Did they close Twitter? No. All right, I'm going to take off, guys. I've been here for 3 hours, but I don't know. I haven't really live streamed in a while. So before I leave too, I went on a cruise, And when I go on vacation, I schedule all my posts because usually, one, I want to post content, but also a lot of times I go on vacation, I make more money than I do when I'm here because I just schedule out posts and just post them all. And right before the day of my cruise, the day of, or the day right before, I log into Facebook to make sure all my stuff's scheduled, and they demonetized my entire Facebook account. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, because now that's like thousands of bucks, whatever. But I didn't even let it trip me out. I'm like, what did I even do? And then the second I get back from my vacation, they turned back on my monetization. They've turned it on and off like 3 times in the last month. It's like, yo, get off my D. Excuse my language. Get off my blank, Facebook. It's just like so annoying. They're always trying to, at this point, I don't even care. When they do that type of stuff, it just reminds me, I do other stuff. It's not like I'd be that struggling, but I do want to sell my book and figure out other ways. Like the next time they do this to my Facebook, I want to like not even care. They are bullies, and I don't want to act like the victim, but the whole reason I made that documentary is because I want to just point out, if you take away thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, that's fine. Just have better customer service. Tell me what I couldn't even tell what video it was. TikTok deleted my whole account, and my whole account is gone. If you go to Dreamer on TikTok, I had tens of millions of views. They owed me $800. Are they just going to steal my money? You just going to steal my money, TikTok? Just take $800 from me, you thieves. Can I sue you? We'll find out. I don't even know why they did it. Like, imagine deleting somebody that has hundreds of thousands of followers, even if you don't, but still. And you won't even tell me why I did it. Facebook doesn't tell me. YouTube doesn't tell me what part of the video it was. Like, these people how do they live with themselves? Like, how do they even run a company? No one at the company is like, hey, maybe we should tell them when we take away all this stuff, maybe we should like be very clear on why they did it. Send them an email and say, this is the exact part. This is the exact moment of the video. How are you going to take away my main, and I'm not complaining, I'm just saying my main source of income, my biggest social media, you're going to take away all my monetizations on all of my videos a day before I go on vacation, and you don't even tell me what video it was? What the hell is wrong with these people? Like, how does this is why, even though Elon isn't like your best friend, I'm glad he's taking over Twitter, not because I trust him. He's going to run it better business-wise than they are. Is he going to be your friend? No. Is he going to hold free speech values? No, not even. He's not. I don't trust him in that sense, but I think he's going to run it better as a business, because the way they're running it is like laughably demented. It's just like, how long can you possibly get away with this? And it's insane, but whatever. Someone said they get off by canceling you and mind effing you. Maybe, but I don't even let it trip me out. When I was going on the cruise, my mom was like, aren't you concerned? How are you going to make money? You know, my mom was more freaking out than I was. I was like, Ma, they've done this to me 10 times already. So at this point, I don't get upset. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to talk about it, but it is what it is at this point. You know, it's not, I'm not going to, I think you're right. I think they like to like mess with me. And I think if I don't get bothered, then it's not a big deal. Appreciate you guys. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Thank you to everybody hang out. Even thank you to the lady who said F you. Thank you to the guy who told me to get laid. And thank you to the lady who called me a traitor. I don't really appreciate that much. It's a little annoying, but I guess I still appreciate you. It's okay. You know, we're all human. Have a good one. Well, except there's a few lizards here, but let's not make it out. I'm just kidding. But have a good one, guys. I'll be back soon. Thanks for watching. And after a vacation, I'm always grateful to come back and still people somewhat care about me. It's very, very humbling, very appreciative. It's a lot of worse things I could be doing out here, so this is not that bad of a job. Thanks.